Welcome back for another episode of Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go. Find us on Facebook.com/superfunpodcast, Twitter.com/superfunpodcast, Patreon.com/superfunpodcast, Instagram @superfunpodcastgo, iTunes @Superfun Game Review Podcast Go. Thanks and enjoy the show.
Welcome back for another episode of Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go! Tonight, I will be your host, Steve, and we are doing Fallout 3. Let's do a little introduction around the table. To my right, I have Mr. Harry.
I built my character incorrectly.
It's a good start. Across from the table, Mr. Clark.
I am the Lone Wanderer.
Oh, shit. To his right is Mr. Ralph.
I am Alpha and Omega.
And then, sandwiched between me and Ralph is Special Big Daddy Paige.
Ah!
And then myself, what you want, Smooth Skin? Steve. So,
Smooth Skin Steve.
Smooth Skin Steve.
shave my body every day. So on that note, let's get some initial impressions. Ralph, why don't you start us off?
Right, so I knew of but had never played the Fallout franchise. Fallout 3 was my first experience to it. I played it first on the PS3. I didn't play PC until much later. I actually borrowed a copy from a friend of mine who... It was one of those awkward situations where he let me borrow it, and then I kept it like too long, and he's like, so I need the game back.
Can I get that back?
I really want to play it kind of thing. And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. I didn't play Oblivion for a minor like background because I know they're like the same engine, and that was like during the takeover of the franchise and whatnot. Like I didn't play Oblivion. This was my first Bethesda game like in earnest. And in 2008 or 9, I just like fell in love with it. Got sucked right in.
There you go. Harry, what about you?
So I originally played this when I got the 360. Ooh, geez, when was that?
A while ago.
I think I only put like 5 or 6 hours into it and kind of moved on mainly because I couldn't play that game anymore, which is a separate side story. So fast forward, until present day.
Real quick, I have to know, was it because it was modded?
Yes.
Okay.
It was a downloaded and burned game.
Me too.
Yeah.
Bunch of hackers in here.
Yeah, for
Jeez.
real.
What?
So I will say, I don't typically like the open world, go explore, make your own kind of story type of game. I will say that.
That's a shame.
Sorry.
Jesus.
That is such a shame.
They're usually like huge time sink games, and I don't typically have that kind of time.
Yeah, you'd prefer a more linear like Final Fantasy 13, right?
Or Siege, where he plays,
Hundreds of hours.
700 hours.
Yeah. He's got 800 million renown.
Consuming it all.
But anyway, I did enjoy my experience with the game, and I will explain why this evening.
All right. Kyle, what about yourself?
I've played this game at least 3 or 4 times. I've played a lot of the Fallout games, so I was really looking forward to this one, and I'm really happy I get to be here for this episode.
Well, thank you, sir. Which you should be here because this was your pick.
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
Thank you for your donation, Kyle.
We wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you.
That was my pleasure.
Thank you, Kyle.
Clark, what about yourself?
Yeah, so I started playing the game day one and just kind of instantly fell in love. I was a huge fan of Oblivion. I played tons of Oblivion as well. I just got lost in making my character's own story. I love non-linear games where I don't have to necessarily, follow a set path. Like, I think the first time that I beat Fallout, it took me 95 hours because I just got lost in everything else, maxing out my character, min-maxing all of my little, abilities and things like that. And then, eventually was like, I should probably just beat the game. Was really upset when I beat the game and I thought something was going to happen. We'll get into that a little bit.
Yeah.
So I love the series, and I think this is like one of the best of the new generation of them that isn't like the more RTS style, not RTS, more of the strategy style isometric game. Or what about you, Steve?
Well, I first played it on the 360 way long ago in a galaxy far, far away. And
Was that the Xbox 2?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
And I didn't really hear anything much about it. I never played either of the other Fallouts, but as soon as I got started on this, I was hooked. And there is no lie that there was not another game that was put into that system other than Left 4 Dead. That was pretty much my only two go-tos when I wasn't doing the competitive gaming or practice along for Left 4 Dead. It was Fallout 3, and that was it. Not to mention, I had that was pretty much when I started playing, the other expansions came out too, so I had the entire world at my fingertips, and I was just completely enamored and sucked into it. And to come back around, because it's been several years since I played this game, when Kyle put this up for his pledging vote to what we're going to play, I couldn't have been happier, and I'm so glad this came up. Otherwise, I probably would have threw it out for vote probably in about another year or so, but Kyle streamlined it for me. Thank you, sir.
It was my pleasure yet again.
I appreciate it. Since we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and move into game development.
Game development.
So Black Isle Studios owned the rights to Fallout beforehand.
Yeah.
They were owned by Interplay Entertainment.
Interplay is the one I remember, yeah.
They went under, had to sell the title. I guess
The rights.
Yeah, I guess the rights
The
to
license,
it. It was
yeah.
bought for a little over $1 million by Bethesda.
Right.
They scrapped all the work that they did on the original Fallout 3, made it their own at that point. So they basically just bought the title, essentially.
Right.
Yeah, they bought the rights to distribute it. Like they didn't have to go through the red tape of like actually licensing the game. They just bought it outright, pretty much.
Not to mention, Bethesda started actually working on it in 2004, which is pretty crazy to think that the game didn't actually come out until 2008. This game was 4 years in development until it went from when it was picked up, the licenses were bought out by Bethesda, and then the game was actually released, which you can tell the amount of time and work that was actually put into the game.
That's true. I just wanted to interject that while for most video game companies and most of the games that we review in terms of their development cycle, the big exclusion being Final Fantasy 15, of course, that for a Bethesda game, I don't think it's really that surprising. As
True.
everybody here would know,
Yeah.
that if
Yeah.
they're working on an Elder Scrolls or a Fallout game, they are taking their time with it.
Definitely.
They've repackaged Skyrim now, 30 times on every
Yep.
console they can think of and squeeze it on? I'm surprised it's not on mobile devices yet.
You
And
haven't
it came out in
seen that one?
2011. No, it came
Skyrim
out.
Mobile?
No. Is it like Pokemon Go?
Yeah.
Skyrim Go?
No, they do have some form of Skyrim. on
I'm
mobile.
not-
Oh
I
my
wouldn't
god,
be
I was
surprised.
kidding. I was really
Yeah,
kidding.
me too.
It's not. I mean, I think it's
Yeah.
like a match 3 or something, but
Okay.
still, like it's still Skyrim on mobile. Like it's weird.
Okay. But for instance, Skyrim came out in 2011. It's 2018. We haven't heard a whisper of another Elder Scrolls. Now, they just came out with Fallout 4 in, 2015, was it? Was it 2015? They announced it and,
Yeah.
boom, they had it,
Yeah.
within 6 months. So I'm looking at it as Fallout 3 came out in 2008, and then Fallout 4 came out in 2015. So 4 years to develop this from the ground up. I mean, I think they did a great job for that amount of time.
This is
for
true.
that.
You had a New Vegas thrown in the middle there, but
But that was
Obsidian.
thank you. It was Obsidian
Yeah.
that made that in 2 years. They basically got all the textures and everything, and they did their own spin on it. So they didn't have to build as much from the ground up as Bethesda did with Fallout 3.
Real quick on the how their development cycles are. It's about time, and my prediction is this
E3?
year we're probably going to hear something from them at E3.
Cool.
They did start. Bethesda used to pretty much streamline these. Now they have like a few different franchises that they juggle. So they've also tripled or quadrupled in growth from that.
Yeah, you mean Fallout, Elder Scrolls, and even Wolfenstein. Right.
And also Dishonored, I believe is Bethesda as well now.
They did Prey as well.
And Prey. Yeah, like they've been really pumping games out.
Gotcha.
It's actually like pretty astonishing from what they came from. More to that end, I could see them finally getting their next gen Elder Scrolls out. Oh, also they've been doing they are actively doing the Elder Scrolls Online.
Oh yeah, that's true.
They're coming out with a expansion for that in the next 2 weeks.
Oh really?
Yeah.
From talking with Joe, it almost sounds like they're kind of going in the path of World of Warcraft with that. like getting raids much bigger. Like it's becoming a real thing. As
World of
opposed to what I thought it was.
What Warcraft?
World of Warcraft?
Oh, okay.
Warcraft?
I think I've heard of that. Okay.
Maybe.
Probably not. It's not a big game.
Warcraft.
For the Horde.
Did you have anything you want to chime in with, Kyle?
Liam Neeson was your father.
The
Yeah.
story is like reverse Taken.
It is.
It's
Oh my God.
Neeson's gone and the son's got to find him. It's not Taken, it's left.
Wow, that's amazing.
And sorry, if I'm going like this, Kyle, it's like you're in the right spot, but just kind of like project a little
Have to
more.
talk louder.
See,
Yes.
raise
the roof.
I grew a goatee just so I could have my little feelers on the mic so I know I'm close enough to speak.
Okay.
You can literally be like right on it, and you're going to be okay.
I was gonna like try to roast. I was just totally gonna roast you there for a second, and just I'm not.
My goatee is very important to me.
When your feelers meet my feelers,
Ooh.
it's crabs.
Feeler crabs.
Meyer lurks.
Meyer lurks.
My crotch Meyer lurks.
All right, we gotta rein it back into development, guys. We're talking about crabs right now.
Yeah, right. We're getting crabby. One thing about development that I want to say, it's kind of story, kind of graphics, but I think it's really cool that ZeniMax and Bethesda, unless I'm mistaken, they're basically in like the DC area. Like that's where their headquarters is, and the headquarters is even in the game. So they basically like looked out their window, and that's like the setting that they set the game in, which I thought was really cool. And I don't really know of, at least right off the top of my head, I can't think of another example of a video game company making a game like that where the subway or the trains that they could take home are in the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is a really cool aspect to it. Let's power fist our way into story.
Jesus. Power fisting away. Did you just punch a chicken?
Wow, it's a chicken.
This isn't Legends of...
You don't want to do that shit in Zelda. They'll fucking come for you.
Oh no, it's bad news.
Oh, the chickens will come for you, all right.
Yeah, like Ganon killed me like 2 or 3 times, but the chickens, 25 max.
Story.
So I'll say with the story, the main plot, it gives you something to kind of feed off of along the way, but I find a lot of the side stories a little more interesting. Yeah, because you're a little baby. Okay, that's something. It's one of the few games where you start off as a fresh newborn baby, and then as a fresh newborn baby, you get to pick your gender and your name.
And what you look like when you're an adult. Exactly.
I see myself in 20 years.
You guys might want to say that over again.
Because we were on top of each other.
You literally both
Ooh.
yelled at the same time.
It's one of the few games where you actually get to start off as a newborn, where you get to pick your name and your gender.
And then you get to just
See yourself in the future.
What you're going to look like. What you're going to look like in the future.
I gotta
Kyle's
wipe that.
getting like a real like look into like how much cutting actually ends up happening.
Get to pick your gender and your name, and pretty much you get to see what you look like in 18 years-ish.
Yeah, you just learn how to breathe, and you're going to push buttons on a monitor to decide what you look like when you grow up and what your race is and what kind of goatee you're going to have and all that other nonsense.
I mean,
Pretty
I don't
much
really
the-
think you're the one manipulating that.
Oh, it's the father?
It's
He's
Liam.
like here we can take a look at what you're going to look like, and it's just an easy way to put in the
yeah.
character.
I thought you had to do that while they're still in embryo with the genetics.
So these are the big story points we want to hit with
Yeah.
Fallout 3?
Yeah.
Well, at least with that, with the story, when you're in the beginning, you're growing up. So first you're born, there's some complications, and then you start walking around as
Your
a tiny
mother
toddler.
dies.
That's like
Spoiler
too
alert.
simplistic, or that's too like in depth. I think because if we go stage by stage like that,
Well,
it's gonna
I
be-
mean, that's more in the beginning, because once you hit a certain age, then you're just in the world. With the very beginning of the game, you go from newborn to toddler, where you go.
I want to talk about everything. I want to talk about my sweet roll. Okay,
Your sweet
my
roll
sweet
for-
roll at my birthday party. I want to talk about every detail.
the tunnel snakes. Do you want to talk about the tunnel snakes? I
Ralph
know you love tunnel snakes.
Tunnel snakes, though.
I love tunnel snakes.
We got to rein it in.
No, yeah, I have a point. So let's fast forward a little bit. The point that
How many
really,
years in the future?
the point that really got me.
Your 17th birthday. What point got you?
Got your goat, Harry.
It was my tip point.
All right, 19 years in the future when you can actually leave the vault.
Yes.
What point were you getting at, Harry?
I was actually just kind of like going through the motions of the story until we got to the one vault with the simulation.
Okay.
That's when I started to think, wow, there's actually something a little deeper to this story here. And that's when it started like developing a little bit more of an interesting storyline that isn't just fetch quests, essentially.
I don't want to derail you, but I really feel like we should say, like, you were in a vault, there was a nuclear winter, it's 200 years in the future, your father leaves the vault, and you're trying to track him down. I feel like we need to just get that foundation.
that
It's
is
like
the
a
main
30-second foundation.
Good, you just did it.
There is the foundation. That's pretty much it. Cool.
Yeah.
The vault goes to shit, and then you're like, oh my god, where's my dad? And it's pretty much,
Yeah.
I need to go find my dad, and then you leave the vault, and then here's the wasteland.
Real quick, I wanted to ask everyone about this. What did you do with the Overseer when you left?
Hold on. Isn't that more gameplay than story?
It's story. It affect. Like, here's the thing. A lot of the story and gameplay are going to
mesh
overlap here because a lot
Yeah.
of the gameplay is making decisions, but they also affect the story directly.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So that part is going to overlap. It's a very decision heavy and conversation heavy game.
It's going to
in
bleed
general.
through,
That's
just
fair.
like the Overseer's skull, like I did with him.
I
just fucking with
attempted to not kill him, but the motherfucker wouldn't give me what I wanted, so I killed him.
I murdered the shit out of him.
Oh, yeah.
Can you
Every
get out
fucking
without
time.
killing him?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
You,
Well, the
you have-
speech checks or something?
kind of. You
Okay.
can like pickpocket him if you're real good.
Take the keys
Yeah,
or something.
that's fair.
Take a key from him. Yeah,
Yeah.
I usually kill him.
Oh, no, he did.
It depends on your skill checks and like what skills you assign yourself before you leave. Sometimes it's impossible and you just have to bash his brains in with a fucking police baton.
I
or
mean, he
your
was
fists.
a prick. He deserved to die.
Having said
I
that,
agree.
like you said, Kyle, I played this game multiple times, and I've created multiple characters with different play styles because it's very replayable as a general note.
Oh, yeah.
We will get back to your point, Harry. Sorry. When it came to when you're going to the classroom before you actually escape the vault, when it comes to like sitting down in the
When you
classroom
take
and
the goat?
picking, yeah,
The goat.
take the goat and picking your what?
No, it's,
Okay, you're taking the goat.
Harry's like, I want to get beyond the vault.
No,
guys.
it's fine, it's
and
fine,
Then we're
it's
just
fine.
like, let's go through.
I have a
every
question.
scene
I
of
have a
the
question.
vault.
It's
It's
actually
not
leading on to
story.
something I want to
it's
talk
very
about.
boring, the first part of the game.
But I think
Yeah.
I got something to say about that later on.
All I wanted to ask you guys was when you played, I guess the first time, did you take the goat test, and then every subsequent time, did you just like talk to the teacher, pass that check, and just like fill in your own answer? Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, like you can kind of talk him into between like, all right, look, here's the fucking answers.
Right. Or here,
You're just like,
you
I don't
pick
want to
the-
be a
pick the
fucking
answer.
janitor. He's like, well, kind of everyone gets placed already. The overseer already picked what you're doing. It's like,
Right.
well, then just give me the test. It's
Right.
like,
I think afterwards, after I took the first goat test, I felt a little, and that was pretty much about it. There you go. See, there,
Crickets.
we can just kill it right there because that's.
Kyle, did
I'm
you
kidding.
On in the
how
gameplay?
did you what did you do with that section of the game when you play it?
I honestly answer the questions every time. I didn't realize you could just skip it out of all the times I played this
Oh,
game.
really?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I actually
Now
took
feel
it-
like a schmuck.
You can be shisty as shit in this game.
I took it one step further. I have like a default save that I never saved over, which is as you exit the vault, you can change any stat you want before you leave. So when I start a new game now, I just go there.
Yeah,
and
it's
I
a
just
good
do
call.
whatever.
yeah.
That's actually pretty smart. I like that.
Because it takes almost 2 hours to get through, I feel like, that first tutorial walkthrough storyline.
There's only two decisions though. There are two decisions that can affect the story.
Okay.
Done in the vault
Okay.
beforehand. So I'm just saying you
Hold-
predestine each one
I
of your
usually
saves.
yeah.
Just saying.
You can change your stats right after the test, though, if you talk to them.
Correct.
Yeah,
that's where we're
But
at
that's
right
that's you can change everything. What you look like, what your base skills are, what your stat, and then literally you're like, boom.
You
open
walk
world.
outside and you're
Yeah,
in the
the
world.
whole beginning of that's a tutorial to teach you everything, and I think they do
Really?
a phenomenal job. Yes,
Wait a
really.
minute.
Except for VATS, right, Harry?
Is
Yeah, we'll talk about
Yeah.
that.
Is
They-
that what the beginning of the game is? It's a
I
tutorial.
mean, like, to what you were talking about,
you
and
sure?
Harry, what you pointed out earlier, they did a great job because what did you say? You were bored as shit the first 2 hours of this game.
Yeah.
So what did you feel like as soon as you stepped out of the vault?
Well, no, I I don't know. I guess
let's
a little.
be honest. It was probably I have to pee. 'Cause that's how.
It's like, oh, I just leveled up.
Did it happen, Harry? Did you like exit the vault and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna pee real quick?
You came back and you were dead.
I guess to be honest, it's a bit overwhelming when you first walk out of that vault.
I agree.
They don't really give you too much direction. Well, they don't really give you any direction. You're fleeing from the vault. You just got to find your dad. And
Captain
obviously you're
linear over here.
But I mean, I'm just saying they don't really give you too many guidelines in the beginning. Obviously,
That's true.
you stumble across Megaton.
There's not many other
Welcome
places to go. I mean, you could go elsewhere. But Megaton's like right in front of
Yeah.
you. But like the whole point of it is like you're bored for the 2 hours. You finally come out of the vault. You actually are excited to be out of the vault and then explore this open world that is now before you.
And it looks like shit because the world's gone to shit.
Yeah.
Does not look good.
It looks great, but it looks bad.
So
Back
to
to
get back
Harry.
to your
Back
point,
to
Harry,
the Pleasantville plot here.
the simulation, like when you're in the pod and you go back to like the 1950s simulation.
What I really liked about that is there's like a lot of like really dark elements that I mean, the general premise of the game is pretty dark, especially with like a lot of the side stories. You can really go down some dark rabbit holes.
Oh
there.
yeah.
But I think that was the first one that was just really caught my eye. Everything seemed like pretty common within like a different story.
What you were expecting. Everything was what you were expecting.
Exactly.
Back
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I was kind of figuring out that as I was forming my sentences. But yes, everything was to be expected until I got there, and I was like, "Well, this is a pretty unique situation." I mean, they kind of touch on the morality aspect when you're in the vault, but it's like almost tutorial like.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the first time where it's, do I kill the people in here? Like, do they really want to be dead? What do I do about, you know what I mean? Like, it gets you thinking outside the box a little bit at this point and trying to do your decision making there.
Yeah, and again, that's in Vault 87. You go there to try to find your dad.
Yes.
He's in the simulation
He's in
as
the-
the dog.
He's the dog. Yeah.
How did you guys, solve that puzzle? The whole thing, I guess.
Yeah. Which is how this is where it's going to bleed over. No pun intended. But what did you do in the simulation, Harry? Because you were very adamant. What did you do?
I mean, it took me a couple minutes to realize it's just one big circle. And I guess the first person I talked to was the little girl. No, I think it was an older guy. But then
He walks up to you and it's like an
Yes.
automatic.
And then you walk and talk to the little girl. I forget her name. But
Becca or Bella or...
yeah, but she was like, go make Billy cry or whatever the hell his name is. I was like, ooh, that doesn't seem good.
It's like, really? Painting in broad strokes here.
But so I had my speech skill. My speech skill was like one of my highest skill stats.
That's a good way to play the whole game.
Yeah.
High
I
speech.
did. I figured that was going to be a big thing.
You can actually make it through the whole game without hurting somebody doing that.
I skipped a lot just because I hit the speech thing.
She had this silver tongue.
Speech option.
Yeah, it actually bypassed the whole news radio quest line.
3 dog.
You mean you didn't go fetch the satellite dish and put it on the Washington Monument?
No.
Fuck, that's the worst.
Yeah.
I fucking hated that.
That
shit.
was-
Skipped all
sucks.
of it. I literally
Wow.
went up with
That's
the
impressive.
Enclave, did the speech thing, and he was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Go check out this city. That's where your dad's at." I was like, "Oh, okay."
All right.
So yeah, the whole speech thing. I did fail to make the kid cry. He just started like retorting back in my face, just like, "No, get out of here!
You know
Don't
what I
listen
did?
to her." And I was like, "Ooh, well now what do I do?" I
punch
think
him.
you just have to keep talking to the people. You find that old lady who realizes she's in a simulation and openly talks about it, and that's the first time you kind of realize.
Oh, hello, dear. Did you know that this is the Matrix?
Yeah, essentially.
That's pretty spot on.
If you get the option, take the blue pill.
But then you hear basically they've been in there for a long
200 years?
something like that.
Probably since the inception of the vaults. The base vaults that actually act as normal. They were some kind of experiment.
Yeah, there were a lot of experimental vaults.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What did you guys think? What did you guys think of that part of the game?
So, quick story for that for me. I went in and my speech skill actually wasn't one that for this run, I didn't, for whatever reason, I just left speech, out of what it was. When I got to talking to little Billy, I was like a 33% chance of getting that speech. And I got it on the first go. And then I was like, it was like you lose karma or whatever. And I was like, there's got to be another way to do this. So I reloaded and I went back and tried other things and it didn't work. So I was like, okay, let me just make the kid cry. I want to get out of this damn simulation. So every time I went back, I tried like 8 or 9 times. I couldn't pass it. I got it on the first go with a 33% chance, and every time after that, no matter how many times I reloaded, I didn't get it.
Failed.
So do you think the 33% chance was a lie?
No. I was just like a karma thing, or just my luck kind of thing. Ultimately, what I did was, and I think I've done this every time that I've played since the first time, I just go into the abandoned house and do the code
The pattern.
to do
Fail-safe.
Yeah.
the fail-safe tones. You touch a Nuka Coke bottle and the radio and like a cinder block and like other things. You do it in the right order, and it makes a terminal come up, and then you can activate the, like, what does he call it? The loophole, or
The fail-safe.
the fail-safe. And basically a bunch of Chinese soldiers come in and they just kill everybody, and then you come out of it.
What I don't remember is, do you lose karma for doing that one?
I don't think so, because it's like a mercy
I don't
kill.
think
They
so.
murder everybody.
Yeah, it's like mercy killing though.
I was actually concerned they were going to kill me. So I was like hiding behind the fence and everything. I didn't know, like, I didn't know you were like immune.
Well, you're also a child.
No.
Oh,
When you're in the
were you?
simulation, you're a kid.
I forget. But
Yeah.
But it's like, why would you be immune to the damages?
You technically shouldn't.
Because the writers wrote themselves into a hole. That's why. All right, what did you guys do with the simulation?
I did the fail-safe.
I did the failsafe as well. I always guided through it after the first time that I did it. I think the first time that I did it was I managed to do the speech with the kid.
Gotcha.
But every other time I was like, oh, there's an easy way to do it.
Because once you do that, I think, doesn't it go on? Like, you have to do additional things?
I think so.
You have to break up a marriage and other stuff?
Yeah, it's basically you just
Oh,
have
yeah,
to
you're right.
tear the town apart itself, and then at the very end is when like it starts to unwind and unravel a little bit. But this last playthrough was just fail safe. But I've pretty much played the game enough times to just try to come up with every outcome.
The old lady too. Everyone like talks about her and they're like, "Oh yeah, the old crazy lady that she doesn't know what she's talking about." Like, it's
I once
weird.
saw Morpheus in a fever dream.
And she's like the only one. She knows. She's woke. Old lady's woke.
Oh my
She's
god.
woke.
Got that third eye going on.
Now, at least with this, where it's going to kind of be blurred in between this and gameplay, but I'm curious, since we're talking about already the decisions we're making, who went good and who went bad with their karma track for the last one?
For the last one, what?
The last playthrough.
Because we've all done multiples.
Either that, or at least if you only played it for the first time, what did you do? Which I think the majority of us have played it before, but maybe not fully through, because I know, Harry, you were saying you only played like a few hours of this beforehand. Which path did you really find that was the way you wanted to go?
I typically always go gray, like on my playthroughs, because I don't like to, like, if you go too hard one way or the other, it starts lopping off like options for you. Mm-hmm. So I like to play like very open-ended, so I try to stay gray.
Before we started recording, you mentioned Jericho, so that must be what you're talking about. Because I was usually way too vanilla
goody two-shoes.
for Jericho to want to tag along.
So like one thing I really like to do, so with Jericho, there's a really easy way to get past, like, so you have to pass like 4 tests with him. Essentially, like, there's 4 things that you have to accomplish to get Jericho to be one of your people. If you go in and you threaten him the first time you have a conversation with him, like when you're a fresh fucking newbie right out of the vault, you get to skip 2 of the pieces.
Wow.
And you can do that. He'll proposition you to just like, oh, I have a connect out in the fucking wastes. And you can go out, talk to the connect, kill somebody for the connect, come back, and Jericho will be your companion. He's like one of the most solid fucking companions in the game.
Awesome.
I would never kill someone for a Kinect. I think they're useless. I don't know why Microsoft bothered to make one.
this guy
Jesus
over here.
Christ. So,
this
anyway,
guy. Hey, Ralph, that was fucking...
Xbox, explode!
So you were more middle ground then.
Yeah, for the most part, I've had one playthrough where I was like, oh, I'm just gonna be bad as fuck, and I lean towards that, I think, in games, just because I think it's usually more interesting. You just see like the darker side of like where the developer's actually gonna like take things.
Yeah.
Like my whole thing, and this is kind of like story, but this is like my story in the game. I like literally developed this whole process in my head, and I even brought a name to it of the Wasteland Refund, where you go up to one of the traveling merchants, you talk to them, you buy the wares from him,
Yes.
he takes all of your caps, and the second you close out of that, you shoot him in the fucking face with whatever high-powered fucking weaponry you have, then pick his body, take all your fucking caps off of his body.
Oh, it's like Grand Theft Auto prostitutes.
So, because when you kill one of the merchants, they lose half of their inventory. So you go buy them out, they never lose their caps. So you go buy as much shit that you can buy off of them to like get that window smaller and smaller. You fucking blow them up, and you take your caps back, and then you kill their fucking Brahmin or whatever.
Have you ever done a full good run through with this game?
No,
Really?
not like true good. I've stayed like neutral good or like
Chaotic neutral.
But not
Yeah,
where you're
like-
like angelic.
no. I've never done like an angelic run.
Okay.
Those runs never seem to interest me in games. It's just I don't know. It's just not my thing.
I get that. What about yourself, Ralph?
I wanted to go next, just sort of to be on the converse
Ralph,
side
why
of
don't
it.
you go next?
I want to say that, like,
Talk at me, Ralph.
Ralph.
whenever I play a game like this, I usually do one run where I'm like literally fucking Jesus Christ walking on water. And then I always try to like do something different or go for gray or go for like I'm just going to go every time I would turn right, I'm going to turn left, and I always end up breaking down and I become Jesus Christ walking on water again. So I just want to say that, like, if it's Knights of the Old Republic or if it's the Fallout games, it's like, okay, I'm gonna like role play this dark character, and I always like I'm gonna do it. I devote myself to it, and I end up
Being a good
picking
boy.
daisies.
I'm
You're such a
like
good
giving people
boy.
stuff for free. I'm giving, purified water to this asshole and that asshole, and it's like,
You
oh,
just love
he's
those
evil.
assholes.
Like, I'm gonna go kill him, and I'll be the good guy, and I'm always the savior of the wasteland or whatever.
So you never had an evil run through with this game?
no.
No? That's, well,
I've never been like,
honestly- you know
God
what?
damn it, Dad! Why did you run out of me? I hate your ass. I'm gonna be baby. I've never
Well,
done that
I
version
know
of the game.
we usually have a big workload, but I will say, go back and have an evil run through.
I know I need
It's,
to. I know.
I'm just saying it's a very fun, different.
Well, wait.
part of
I
the
did.
game.
I did blow up Megaton the one time, but I
That's
never
once-
finished
no,
that.
no,
I never
that's not
finished
it.
that run through.
If you're when you look on your Pit Boy and you didn't have like full devil horns holding a pitchfork, you didn't do it right then.
I always like to get Jericho out of Megaton before I blow it up.
Naturally.
That's usually a good call. Kyle, what about yourself when you were playing?
I kind of run the same way as Ralph. I always end up good.
You marry Sue Goody Two Shoes, son of a bitch.
No matter what I do. I actually wanted to do this run through as someone evil. So I blew up Megaton. I blew up a whole lot of motherfuckers just because I could. Killed as many people as I could. And still, by the end of the game, I was still a fucking saint.
Hey, you blew up Megaton, but you gave some hobos some purified water, and that's all you really need to turn it around.
There was at one point I went to, what the fuck was it? Paradise Falls, the slaver camp. I was like, I'm going to kill all these motherfuckers because they got good weapons. They're going to be a good experience. Of course, killing these evil people give you good karma. So I ended up being a savior at the end of the game.
Yeah,
I told the slavers where the kids' camp was.
yeah.
I was like, oh shit,
Little
it's
lamplight?
over there. Fucking
They're
go
over
get
there.
'em. Yo, yeah.
You can do that, huh?
Yeah,
Yes.
you can.
Yeah, you can tell the slavers where like little lamplight is.
See-
You can be like, oh yeah, I'll go get help for you guys, and then like literally like walk over and be like, yo,
They're there.
It's just some fucking kids and weapons.
Yeah.
Here's where they keep them.
What is-
Like just like
What is really cool about it is they give you this, what's it called, like a mesmerizer thing?
yeah.
So like you can like...
Mesmatron.
Yeah, there you go.
Mesmatron.
That's what
so
it is.
you can shoot people with
Wow.
thing, and it's like a ray gun that
Wow.
just makes them go all loopy. And like you can tell them to do shit. You can pickpocket them. You can tell them to give them your stuff, their stuff to you.
Or their head explodes.
Yeah, like I kept that for the rest of the game and just did it to everybody.
It's a really cool weapon.
I never used it. I got it because...
Oh, no.
Okay, since we're talking about the slaver's place, I don't even remember the kids getting captured. I just remember stumbling across this place.
Camp Lamplight. I think.
No,
Little
not
Lamplight?
Lamplight.
Paradise
No,
Falls.
the Paradise Falls.
Oh.
And I saw the guy right at the entrance. He's like, "Oh, well, I'm not going to let you in unless you pay like 300 caps or something like that." And that was
Yeah.
the first time I'm like, "Nah, I don't think I want to do that." I was actually a little worried starting the gunfight because I knew a ton of guys were going to come right after me, and I knew they were well equipped. as well.
So there wasn't a speech check there that you could pass?
There may have been.
Maybe it was early on.
There is if you approach it the first time. Wait, did you go to it after Lamplight? Did they send you there?
I don't think they sent me there, but I think I briefly visited Lamplight.
I mean, it's like really fucking close.
Yeah. No, I do remember that.
Yeah. There is a speech check that you can be like, oh no, like I have information about what you're looking for. Like you could just completely bluff. Or it might be no, yeah, I think it's speech.
I don't know.
Intelligence check or something? Intimidate.
Well, regardless, I don't know what I did with that check, but they were going to try to charge me $300, and that's when I kind of like just, I think we're just going to open up fire.
Shotgun to the face.
Good call.
Work my way into this camp. And it's funny. Initially when you get in and you clear the first area, guys, you see like a prisoner running out, and they have that bracelet on their neck, and then their head explodes.
Yeah.
When I finally got to the cages of all the trapped people, I told them all to run out.
Oh my god!
My
thinking
God.
that all their
God.
heads would explode.
Okay.
And then I go and talk to the kid, and he's like, "Oh, don't worry, I just disarmed." You little son of a bitch! And I thought I was sending everybody out.
No fireworks for you. Oh my god!
So, how did you end up by the end of the game with your karma?
I don't remember looking at it, but
No?
No, I don't. I think I'm. Fuck you, Ralph. I think
I just edited Blood Dragon. I'm sorry. I couldn't help it.
I think I'm. If I had to grade myself, it's like neutral good. Like I lean towards the good, but then I have my moments where I'm just like, nah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Gotcha.
Honestly, I think most of my like neutral runs, now that I'm thinking about it, and you keep talking about giving the hobos purified water, I think I was like, I think that was like my Robin Hood part of like being like the evil guy. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take care of the hobos. And it always made me gray. I would do like sinister shit, like give up the fucking like kids camp. But then I'd be like,
Here's some water.
I've purified my karma by giving out purified water.
Sprinkle some glitter on him.
Yep.
I find myself the opposite of Ralph, where I always seem to go on the evil side of things.
Devil.
Yeah, pretty much.
You have
by
the
end of
devil
it.
in you.
Even when I try to not do bad things like blow up Megaton, slaughter Tenpenny Tower.
Well, that one's always fun.
That is a fun one. My problem is I like to steal a lot, and that's bad karma. I always think whenever I'm going along, if you remember True Life, it was an MTV series where they had celebrities, and in the intro they had Chris Rock saying, "I just like to steal things." That's me. I love to steal stuff, which no matter what my playthrough, lockpick, one of my top skills. That's pretty much, I can't get away from it.
Yep.
And it's usually pretty much the downside, and then once I hit a certain point, might as well go balls deep, and then all of a sudden there's regulators running after you when you come out of a subway, like, there's a bounty on your head, da-da-da. Nope, you're gonna die too. So
Come and get some, motherfucker.
that's pretty
The
much it.
regulators.
Dude,
Oh my God.
are you like me? You're like walking around something, and it's like a room full of like green objects that you can like mess with, and then you see one red, and you're like, oh, there's got to be something good in there.
Yeah, I gotta
Just
get
like-
that. It's like, oh, drawer green. Oh, box locked. Nope, that's mine. Desk
Yeah.
locked. Nope, I'm getting that. Safe? No, there's probably some caps in there. I need that.
I'm picturing you walking into like an important NPC's like house or abode or whatever, and everything's red, and you just like. You get the
that's
same
pretty much
sound
it.
effect over and over, and you just like turning the music down because you don't. You're tired of hearing the same sound effect. You're
I do
stealing
not get
everything.
tired of- It's even when I'm playing as a good character. Whenever I go into Megaton, into the doctor's office,
Yeah.
I wait for him to go into the other room, and I'm just rooting through all this shit, just get a lot of rataways. I'm getting some stim packs. I'm getting everything I can because it's there. I'm going to take it. They're not really going to use it. And if they have anything to say about it, well, then that's why there's a baseball bat to the face.
Oh,
Were we the doctor? Go ahead.
The best, and this happened at the doctor's office. It's one of my favorite like moments that I've ever had with the game. Is I was standing there and the doctor's like staring right at me, and I crouched to try to go like to hide, and he's just like staring at me like in the face, and they look down because it's like very obvious, and it's like, oh, you can be seen, and I'm like sitting there waiting, and he's just staring at me, and then he just leaves the fucking room, and I'm like, I'm going to fucking steal everything.
It goes around, it's like, hidden. Mine.
Yeah. As soon as it switches to hidden, I'm like, he's going to come back in a second.
And by the end, it's like real life. Dad's just so disappointed in my decisions.
Oh God.
And you can't get caught. You cannot get caught because you'll lose your entire inventory.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you steal
yeah.
like that, if you get caught, you lose every stolen item that you have. So like, they're like, you're gonna have to pay a fucking fine, and you're like, you're dead now.
Yeah, no.
Don't threaten me. You're dead.
You're gonna do this.
You're not. Nope. You're not gonna take me alive.
I didn't
No.
play it that way. I mean, I was healing everyone's wounds and their injuries and performing miracles. I was doing the other stuff.
I was bloodshed. Yeah, that was pretty. I'm a very
Wasteland
thirsty
refund
hobo.
here.
Oh, I have something that will
Abow!
thirst. It's called a 12 gauge.
Bow.
Before we get too far away from the stealing aspect,
I want to talk about the doctor, but go ahead.
I didn't really steal much in the game, but when I got to that one city that's on the boat,
Rivet City.
Rivet
Rivet,
City.
thank
oh
you.
God,
Rivet
yeah.
City.
that was the one time I was like, all right, cool. Let me try my hand at stealing. So I went into one of the bunk rooms, found a crate at the bottom of the, I guess like a shoe crate or whatever at the bottom of the bed, waited for the person to leave the room. And it was one of those rooms where they would teleport through the door or something.
Yeah, they would like ghost right through.
So I went to go pick it. I didn't know there was somebody sleeping in the bed.
Uh-oh.
As soon as I went through the crate, they jump out of bed and start screaming out of the room. And I'm like, well, fuck. I wasn't planning on that.
I shouldn't steal in this game anymore.
And I really didn't after that point. It just like, because everybody was chasing me down the hallways and everything. It was, fuck.
Yeah, that's a rough city to get caught into because it's like, cool, straight shot. Someone's gonna have a gun eventually, and we're just gonna get fucking lit up. Or you can just mow them all down.
Yeah, I loved going through with the stealth boy and through like especially after hours when it's everything's locked down. Hence the lockpick because hey, you're not gonna keep me out. Go fuck yourself. So I throw on the stealth boy, start sneaking around. This is mine. This is mine. This is mine. Oh, Stealth Boy ran out. I got everything. You're all dead now, too. Why the fuck not? And
Murdering people in their sleep.
I do find it a lot harder to be good in this game, which I did go through, like, I did an angelic run where it's, it took some effort, but I got there. But I just like to steal. It's so great.
Everyone should be forewarned if there ever is a apocalypse type event, I'm going to end up being a goddamn warlord.
Oh yeah.
If I survive the initial like apocalypse event and there's like a wasteland area, I'm totally not going to be
Clark,
a good person.
Give me a call.
Oh
You
yeah,
got it.
yeah. We'll rule the fucking place.
You're going to be,
I'm kidding.
I don't know.
Anyway, the doctor, Ralph.
The doctor, I just wanted to say that he was like the saltiest motherfucker in the wasteland. Every time I come, he's like, you best have cancer, or some bullshit. He always would say something, he's like, well, you walked in here on your own accord, you must be all right. Like, all of his dialogue was always really salty, and I didn't steal anything from him.
No, but it just really makes you want him to shoot him in the face.
How would you feel about having to treat ghouls all the fucking time?
Sure, okay. He's one of those NPCs that no matter what playthrough I do, I know I end up going to him at some point. So all of his dialogue is like etched in my brain, and it's just like he just always seems so salty. I think it's funny.
Well, to pull it around, since we're still like in story, by the end of it, you go through this entire journey, and you still have to play a hero at the end for the most part. Ish.
Well,
ish.
so when it comes to the story, I think we should address the fact that if you're playing vanilla Fallout 3, the ending, you sacrifice yourself and there's no end game.
Not
Yeah.
necessarily.
Not
you
necessarily.
do not
Oh,
have to
no.
sacrifice.
You don't have to, you don't have to sacrifice
You can send lions in.
Oh, that's
Possibly.
right. I forgot. He's like, but because I remember now, what's his name? Ron Perlman saying, but no, he wasn't a hero. Another hero like stepped in or whatever. That's right. You can send lions in.
You could
Right,
also
right.
do nothing.
Yeah, you can
and
also.
it just explodes.
Yep. You can let it explode, or you can also poison it, and you can put the
The VFR. or something
VFR.
Like that
You
from
can
Yeah.
put that.
President.
You can poison
Yeah.
the watering.
Is that
hole.
what you did?
Yeah.
Is that what you did?
I've done
You
that
poisoned
before.
everybody?
yeah.
Poison to everyone has effects. Most people in the immediate area become ghouls.
Really?
Yes.
Never played it that way.
They start to like get the disease and the famine and shit, and like they die off, and then
Wow.
If you get the DLC, I believe called Broken Steel, you can actually then have Fox go in because he's immune or very resistant to the radiation.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
That's right. Yeah, and what I wanted to say in regards to that story element with the ending, I this time played the Game of the Year edition, and I noticed that Three Dog, from like the moment I walked out of the vault, was saying, "It's been 2 weeks since the waters of life have come, and we're waiting. The caravans are coming, or whatever." That is, unless I'm mistaken, that like line of dialogue is for post-game content. So like it wasn't game breaking, but it was annoying to me, and I was like, okay, he's talking about like the end of the game because I'm playing the Game of the Year edition, which assumes that I've already beaten the game and done all the stuff I wanted to and can do the extra story stuff.
Yeah.
You guys know what I'm talking about?
Harry, what were you about to say?
No, because I had Fox with me when you went to make that crucial decision, and it didn't prompt me. Like, I would have sent him in, knowing that he's resistant to radiation. But side note, I did want to talk about the morality of the game, because I was actually almost buying in to the Enclave's proposal.
Agenda?
Yeah, exactly. Or the computer. I forget what the computer's name was.
John Henry Eaton.
Got
El
it. Okay.
Presidente.
I was actually almost convinced maybe that is the route to go. Now, I know it was technically the bad route, but I wasn't totally opposed to it.
You
And
Enclave supporter.
Maybe he wasn't wrong.
Enclave sympathizer. You're just like, what's his name? The old man in Megaton that walks around and is all pro Enclave. I can't remember the guy's name. You
I don't know.
him?
He doesn't survive past a few hours into my gameplay.
But no, I thought it was an interesting choice. And
It wasn't black and white is what you're saying.
exactly. And I know we've made this this conversation before on the morality, and is it worth it to save everybody? We're not gonna rehash that.
I don't know. I
that
really think
conversation.
that this game would have been better if the ending you had the choice whether or not to
Oh, you
save
do
it.
actually.
Oh my God, you're right. We do.
do, and
Holy
that's why
shit.
this is a better game.
Holy shit, you're right.
Oh, no.
Darn. I'm going to go check on Ellie.
But no, unfortunately, I kind of got my hand forced early on because I handed over the device.
Yeah, once you do that, there's no going back.
Oh.
So, my bad.
Y'all fucked up, man.
You got the bad
You
ending.
done fucked up, Ron.
No, I think I got a somewhat decent ending,
I was
though.
kidding.
I mean, they talked about me saving the place, and then I feel like they...
Saving the place.
Yeah, saving the place.
What'd you do?
I
I
saved
saved the place.
I saved Tenpenny Tower.
Because I actually went into the machine, and I assume he died, but then they showed this cutscene of just walking into the sunset or something. And I don't know if that was alluding to you or
You and
somebody
Liam Neeson walking into the sunset together.
No, Liam Neeson died. He dies.
Oh, no.
Spoiler alert.
That's what you're meant to think.
10-year-old game.
It's no way Liam Neeson can die.
He was just taken away. You didn't see him die.
Oh, my God.
I'm just Alpha and Omega. I don't know.
One thing I don't think we touched on was, yes, there is the main storyline, but there's also a lot of little stories.
Oh, please.
Yeah, like, for the one that's off the top of my head was the Mechanist and the Antagonist, I think it was.
Yeah.
Oh, like a little war?
Canterbury
The
or
ant?
something.
Yeah.
So, like, if you explore all of the Wasteland, you come across a multitude of different stories. And you could play this game for hours, beyond.
Many.
Can anybody ballpark their lifetime hour donation to this game?
To this game, like
To this game.
overall, easily 200 to 300.
That sounds about right for me.
Yes, I'd put 300.
Yeah,
25?
You're also a failure.
I know I have at least 2 saves with 150 hours.
You can easily find yourself getting lost just trying to do stuff. Like, oh, I found a ruins. I'm going to go explore this.
And to me, that's where the heart of the story is. It's the entire map. It's not trying to track down your dad. It's in the very like paint by numbers like plot to get you through the story. Do whatever. If you play just that one storyline and go through like from beginning to end, sort of like I don't know about you guys, but sort of how we played it for this review, to me, that is like an eighth of the experience.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, when you take a look at, I think I'll save some more of that for the actual gameplay. But yes, I think at least for like the story-wise, you can just go do the main mission. You'll get something out of it, but you're not doing yourself justice with just playing the main storyline because there is so much else like on top of it. I mean, dozens of side storylines. And it's not like it's a little side quest where, oh, here's just, you go do this one or two thing. Here's just a raid. There can be like as in-depth story on the side stories, more so than what the actual, like the main track has in store for you.
Or it's more meaningful.
Exactly.
Or it's more,
Yeah.
I don't want to say more interesting because that's too generic, but
So I wanted to ask, what is everyone's favorite NPC? Just real quick.
Dog meat, done.
Fair enough. Dog meat. Kyle?
Jesus.
Dog meat, to be fair, is a dog companion for anybody who doesn't know.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I love the name.
You find him in a
Dog meat.
scrapyard. He's like all sweet. Oh, did you lose your owner? Oh, you can come with me. And then he barks happily.
Fun fact about Dog Meat, he is the only character that is in every single Fallout game.
He was in 1 and 2.
Yep.
Awesome.
it's not the same dog.
Right. but
Yes, it
he's-
is.
It's the only recurring character.
Yeah. no.
He's like Sid from Final Fantasy.
Lo-
Different iterations, but it's the
Fair
same
enough.
character.
The next one, he's going to be a villain. Dog meat.
no, he's such a good boy. You shut your whore mouth, Ralph.
All right, what about you, Kyle?
I absolutely always love Fox. He's hilarious. He's strong. He has a Gatling gun, and he just runs screaming at all the enemies.
Hey, you know what,
Great
Kyle?
distraction.
Kyle, go fox yourself.
Ralph?
I kind of have to agree. There weren't any the other companions don't really. I mean, I did do a run where Jericho was one of my companions, but yeah. Well, no, wait a minute, hold on. Do you mean companions or just NPCs?
NPCs.
Okay, I kind of like the android quest
Armitage.
with Harkness. Is it Harkness?
Harkness is the owner of the android. Armitage
Are you sure?
is the
Yeah.
android. Armitage is the bodyguard for Harkness.
I thought Harkness, who's the guard, is the actual android, though.
No, I think Armitage is the android.
Who is the bodyguard?
Anyway, I like that whole quest, so I want to say that. I mean, I like Fox too, so I give it to him.
So you would say Fox for companion, but
Sure.
NPC would be Armitage.
I just kind of like the whole thing, but yeah.
Harry?
So my quick answer is Fox. I thought he was awesome. I liked his dialogue. I thought it added a little bit of humor to a very dark and sinister game.
Yeah.
But I also like, and it was a very small segment. This kind of gets me into a little story as well. There's this, I guess he turned 18 at the Little Lantern place, and he needs to be escorted to, what is it, Big Town, Big City?
Big town.
Big Town.
Big
Yeah.
Town.
This kid wearing this like birthday hat, like 18-year-old. I forget his fucking name, but he was hiking along with me, and the entire time he's like, to pass the time, let's do a story. So once there was this robot, and he came down and he destroyed this whole city, and he just kept going on these rants of stories. And speaking of which, long story short, I lost him. When I was climbing the mountains, he just disappeared, and I spent
God.
like a good half hour in game time just looking around for him, and I couldn't find him.
Fell through the floor.
So just gone forever?
It's just gone forever.
Oh, fair enough.
And I was like almost at the place as well, and I was like, "Fuck!" Oh, there goes a mission. But no, I thought he was an interesting, and just again, the humor in the game is what I was looking for.
I want to change my answer. There's another NPC I forgot about because I didn't go to him this playthrough. But we didn't talk about the Oasis, the place in the wasteland that has green trees and has a forest. And
Yeah,
there
I forgot
is
all about that, actually.
There is a character who is basically. He was mutated. I don't think he's a ghoul technically, but he's like a tree has grown. He's grown into a tree.
Yes.
I can't remember his name. Do you guys remember his name? Shit, it's been too long since I
I'm
played.
trying to remember where you have to make the decision of
Yes.
whether to let him go or destroy his heart.
Right, you either mercy kill him or you basically
Fuck,
make
that,
him
that name's going to bother me.
live out his existence. And I actually
Yeah.
think he's in other Fallout games as well. I think he's in Fallout 1 and 3 or 2 and 3 or something like that.
So
Harold.
Yes, that's his name.
And the tree's name is Bob.
So my favorite character is Jericho. I like his whole backstory that he used to be like a villain, and then he was like, you know what? I'm just gonna protect Megaton. But I like that you can talk about like evil shit that you did out in the wasteland. And he's like, you know what? That's pretty fucking badass. I kind of want to go back out. I think that's cool that you can lure him out with stories of what you've done in the wasteland. And he's like, cool, let's roll. Also, like him plus Jericho's assault rifle is like he's like Deadeye with it. It's awesome. But my special shout out is Liberty Prime.
Oh gosh,
The giant fucking robot.
Oh my god!
You mean the big friendly giant? The Iron Giant?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. He's just spewing out really weird patriotic references the entire time. I love it. I fucking loved it. I was like, yes, and he's just like blowing up like all this shit.
And I was thinking on the way here, I was like I am the quote guy. I should have wrote down all the quotes from that segment.
One of my favorite times that like I like activated him and like he's like walking around. He was just like, there's a bunch of like I think it was super mutants that like the one wave that comes in. He's just like, freedom now, and just starts just like annihilating them. Yes. Mission: the destruction of any and all Chinese communists. Like he just says some like really outlandish shit. America will never fall to communist invasion. Like, death is a preferable alternative to communism. Communist detected on American soil. Lethal force engaged. Like it's just it's just such a weird, funny thing.
Better dead than red.
Like, it's just so good.
Let's get into some actual gameplay.
And I think it's important to note, maybe to our listeners, like there's a lot to explore, I guess, with the story. It's best if you just do it yourself instead of us trying to touch on.
Yeah, the game's
Yeah.
cheap.
Everything.
Honestly,
Find it anywhere and play
it would be like 5 hours of a podcast if we tried to cover everything in the story, and we still wouldn't do it enough justice.
And ain't nobody got time for that.
I got bronchitis.
Communism is a temporary setback on the road to freedom. Democracy is non-negotiable.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Perfect segue into gameplay.
Gameplay.
So your opener, Harry, how did you fuck up your character? What'd you do?
So
All barter skill.
not having a lot So not having a lot of experience with a Fallout game, I didn't know which characteristics were going to be pretty prevalent for my playstyle. So I thought, at least I had like a small recollection of like my one time playing this before, that ammo is scarce in this game. So I didn't think firearms were going to be a big thing. So I put all my stats into strength and strength-like abilities for melee. But I did do a pretty high intelligence, which played to my favor big time, because I got skill points out the ass every level.
If only you had the intelligence points before you did all the
Yes.
strength and unarmed stuff.
I know. It was disappointing because there was like 3 levels I had to just use to buy stat points, like the perk, which sucked because I wanted to get
Intense training.
some of yeah, exactly. I wanted to use it on some of those cool abilities, and it was like the strength was wasted essentially. Except for it did come in handy, giving me the
Right.
leg up on carrying all that shit, because you get weighed down quite frequently in this
Oh,
game,
yeah.
which is kind of a bummer. Because I wanted to keep some of that enclave armor until later, until you can learn it, but I just had to drop it.
Nah, you just got to find a stash box. The nice thing about that game is like you can literally like be like, oh, this fucking desk drawer can handle everything that I have on my person, and it'll always fucking be there.
See, I didn't
Oh, you didn't
utilize
know
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Just imagine Harry Potter magic
man.
where it's a desk, but in the inside it's actually like a vault.
Harry, you are a wizard.
So I was getting, I was like with the high intelligence, I was getting like 20 some skill points per level.
Yep.
I was just like,
Wow.
I maxed out quite a few stats.
Yep.
And I didn't even max out, like, I think I only hit like level 13, 14, something like that.
Oh wow.
So you can max out too, I think, at that level with 20 per, because that's what I was getting.
Yeah, I think I had a couple in the 90s. I think I had like 2 at 100. It was pretty good.
Now, Harry, did you get the regular edition or Game of the Year edition?
I got the Game of the Year edition.
Well, that's awesome, because if you keep playing through, usually the level cap is at 20. With Game of the Year edition, it's at 30.
Because of broken steel.
So you can get even more. And that's why, at least like when you pick up like a property somewhere, like if you don't blow up Megaton, you can be that's one of them where you can be in 10 Penny Tower. Then that's where like that's your loot stash points, and especially because a lot of them have different lockers and places you can put it. I would have one just for weapons, just for armor, just for random trinkets, one for like the crafting and such. And that's where I think if you start utilizing some of that, it adds a little more to the game. Granted, it's a pain in the ass to kind of go back and forth, but fast travel.
See, and I didn't want that because that was something that was going to bog down and really raise up the time, is like running back and forth on items. And you find out early in the game not to pick up every bottle you come across, not to pick up every piece of junk you find. Because originally you're like, oh, wow, I need stuff to sell so I can get money. But eventually you find out you got to pick and choose what you're picking up.
Yeah, you can only pick up so many cans.
It's really weird too, because like I feel like once you hit the threshold where you have like 1,000 to 2,000 caps, you like never need caps anymore because you're killing things enough that you're like, okay, so like you hover at like 2,000. I never spent anything to like.
I only ever got to like 350.
Oh, wow.
400. Yeah.
Wow, really?
Yep.
I
You need to
stole
pick up-
a lot of shit.
You need
like,
to pick up more. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And that was something too, like, and here's a fun thing. So, and it speaks to where the world is in this game as well. So like in Oblivion, when you steal something, it's a stolen item, and you can't just sell it to any vendor. You have to sell it to a fence. In Fallout 3, as soon as you steal something, it is now yours, and you're free to sell it to whoever will buy it. And I thought that was interesting because there's no like, oh, this is stolen. You couldn't afford this, like that kind of like weird stigma in the Oblivion games, which I liked. But
You can do the same thing in Skyrim, I think. The same system applies.
yeah, it's just one of those things of like they realize how desolate the world would be if you're like, I have this thing, no one cares how you got it. It's like, I need that, or I will give you caps for that. Like it's just an interesting little piece.
I
to
don't
the
care if
gameplay.
those mini nukes are stolen. I need them for my
Yeah.
fat man.
Damn right.
That being said, did you guys not deck out your home?
At certain things, like I didn't feel like I needed like my first chemistry set.
Yeah.
I had a lot of homes that weren't like necessarily like properties. They're just places that I had
Claimed as your own?
claimed it as my own after I cleared out any permanent inhabitants.
Yeah, no, I was wondering, when you say home, what do you mean?
Right. Sorry, if you guys don't mind. For my run, I did a melee, medic, and explosives were the three tiers that I really pushed into. So when I got to Megaton, I was able to disarm the bomb. And when you disarm the bomb in Megaton, you are given a house in Megaton. There's like a vacant house you can't enter. I don't know if you came across it.
I think so.
But when you do that, you get that house. And you get a little, what are they, Mr.
Robot butler.
I love him.
the robot butler, and you get, your own bed. When you sleep in it, you get 10% more XP for a limited amount of time, and you get, containers and different things. You can put all your stuff. Having said that, if you then go to Moira Brown, you can buy different decoration packs for the house. You can have a science-themed one, or you can have a scavenger theme.
Scavenger, you can have like a romantic theme where you have like a
Yeah.
heart-shaped bed or something. But you can also get stuff that's actually going to be useful, like my first chemical lab, basically, where you can make your own stim packs, you can make your own Radaway, Rad-X, like you can make things that are going to help you. And there's a few different ones that you can actually set up where it takes a little time to make the items that you can use, but it's still free items. You just have to throw down a lot of caps to be able to build it up.
Yeah, like 700 or something like that.
You can
The repair bench is like 700. Everything else
Yes.
is like 1,700.
Oh, sorry.
It's
Whoops.
very expensive.
I never messed with that stuff because, again, like I'd never really kept homes like that, and yeah.
I honestly did it for the workbench and the doctor. Like, I always found myself becoming addicted to shit and needing to make bombs and stuff. So I was like, oh, I'll get these two. The others I don't really need them.
Having said that, I wanted to say real quick, and I'm sure we'll all get to this, but when it came to currency, I'm curious to know how you guys got some. Harry, you already said that well, maybe you guys have all really said it. Clark, you just stole stuff and sold it. Steve, you sold stuff and you stole things
stuff.
and sell. Oh my God, you stole things and you sold it.
You talking to your father?
What?
I said, oh my God.
Yeah. Harry, you only had 350 caps, so we're just gonna forget what you were gonna say. But whenever I play this, I'm teasing you, man. Whenever I play these games, I usually end up as like a gun runner and a drug dealer and an ammo like peddler and a cigarette salesman. Like I take all those things and end up selling them. I find that I don't use Jet, I don't use Med-X. I keep Radaway and I keep Stim Packs for what I need.
You keep Mentats?
I do keep Mentats. I normally don't use them, but because they have no weight, I can just stack them up as much as I need. And if I'm short on caps and someone's got them, I can sell them and, turn it around. But I always realized, I was like, man, in the apocalypse, I'm like this big-time drug dealer because I'll just keep getting Buff Out and Jet and all this other stuff, and then I just go to a vendor and say, here, sell them.
Wadsworth. That's the man.
Wadsworth.
Yeah.
Yes, or Godfrey, depending on which place you pick.
No, an observation I had with the game. I don't think there's enough vendors in the game. I always struggled to find somebody to sell my shit to.
They
Not just
wander.
They didn't have enough caps is what I felt that was the issue. It's like you go out, you do a mission, and you come back with all this loot, and you're trying to sell it, and someone's got like 25 caps or 200 caps, and you've got way more than that.
Well, you're supposed to barter. You're supposed to like okay.
Yeah, but they don't
I'm going
have
to
anything I
sell all
need.
these
Yeah.
things, and I want these things. Like I always found myself like buying excess ammo
Right.
because it didn't weigh anything.
Right.
Okay, cool. I pretty much like pillaged everybody, so like I really was never an issue for me. I was
Warlord.
like, yeah.
Harry, what about the vendors? The people that with their Brahmin, they'd come to like Megaton and other places. Did you invest in? I guess you didn't.
I found the one outside of, I fucking forget the boat city again.
Rivet City.
Rivet City. I came across the one. It seemed like he was always stationed right outside that city. That was the only like
They
traveling.
rotate.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah.
That was the only one I really came across in my travels.
Yeah. So the ones that there's like I think 4. They rotate for the things that they sell. Like one's a doctor, one's like scrap, one's weapons, and one is something else. But anyway, eventually, if you want, you can like invest in them, and then they'll have more caps and more items down the road. But
Now, can those NPCs get killed by not just you as a player, but like out in the field?
You'd have to be there. I think you'd have to witness it.
Yeah, you'd have to witness it. I've seen one get eaten by a fucking Mirelurk before.
Ooh.
It was pretty rough. I also might have been running from the Mirelurk that led him to the Brahmin. I was like, cool. I've fought these guys enough. I know they know how to defend themselves. And the guy was like, oh, like because how they have that like
What was it like?
Like they do that whole like alerted sound where they're like, oh, he starts like pulling out his weapon. And then I saw him start to reload it. I'm like, oh, this isn't going to go good. And then Mirelurk was just like, I was like, well, he's dead. Guess I'll just kill the Mirelurk and then take all of his stuff.
Fighting them always sucked. Having that
bad.
very small weak point.
Oh, for the Mirelurk?
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
the
I thought
face?
you were talking.
Well, that's
talking
No,
about
not
the merchants.
Well,
not
that's-
the merchants.
You
I was
have
like,
to- you have to wait
all
for
right.
the Mirelurk to start getting like really close, and then you crouch down, and we're about to get into this at some point. That's when I would use VATS and just aim right for the face while you have the angle and just shotgun blast. And usually only took like 1 or 2, and then just blow up into 1,000 little tiny crab pieces.
Mirelurk cakes.
I think
Yes.
a very powerful shotgun is like one of the most important tools you can have in the game because like you just get up close and blast away.
Yes or no? Harry, VATS.
Didn't realize it was part of the game mechanics until about 7 hours in.
Oh, no.
Oh my god.
When you found it, did you start like utilizing it?
Well, here's the thing. So a lot of times it would say, what was it, R1
Yeah.
to use VATS. And I would click it and it wouldn't do anything. But I found out later you have to be like within range and be under attack for it to actually activate. So whenever
No.
You don't have to be attacked for it to work.
not attack, but you have to be like within range or under threat or like within view.
Okay, yeah.
It would always like prompt me when I'm nowhere near an enemy just to try it out. And I would hit it and it does nothing. So I kind of gave up on that feature.
Gotcha.
And then I accidentally bumped it like way later in the game. And I'm like, what is this?
It's like wait mode in Final Fantasy 15, right?
It's something like that. But it made it exponentially more strategic and gave me more reaction time in battle. Like, because because that was the issue. I felt like I was always getting attacked, and you start getting fidgety because you're like, oh fuck, I'm losing all this health, and
Yeah.
you're just like firing wildly, and
I'll say, sorry to cut you off, you don't have to be necessarily close to an enemy. You could just start running down like the open area and just keep clicking R1, and eventually something's going to pop up. And it could be like so far away, it's 0%, but oh shit, I know that thing's there now.
Yeah, well, what I'm getting at though is I think the tutorial is very lackluster when it comes to VATS.
I agree.
Sure.
And I wish I was prompted a little bit clearer. Hey, this is a huge aspect of this game, and I just totally missed out on that. And maybe that affected my enjoyment of the game a little bit, taking that whole strategic element away for a good half of the game for me.
I would say so. And once you started using it, the fact you realize did you start playing around with it and knowing that you can like target different body parts?
No, absolutely.
Okay.
No,
It really evens the odds when you're outnumbered. I'm sure you found out.
Yeah.
Kyle, were you a big VATS fan?
In previous playthroughs, but not this one. This one I went melee, and if you do melee, it's the whole body.
Bitch.
Like you don't get to target anything, so I'm like, I'll just start swinging at them.
You get the cool criticals and shit.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's very true.
So one of my favorite things in VATS specifically is also tied to a perk. I loved Mysterious Stranger.
Yes.
Okay.
It was my favorite perk and VATS combination, because I can't tell you how many times I would be like near death and just the Mysterious Stranger, the dun, dun, dun,
Just comes out, revolver. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
so awesome.
Thank you so much.
Never had it, Harry?
Did you take the perk for Mysterious
I
Stranger?
refresh my memory. What is that perk
So
do?
at random intervals,
When in VATS only.
when in VATS only and you're shooting, the Mysterious Stranger will show up and try to kill whatever you're targeting. It can be anything, including super mutants and like the giant fucking
Behemoths.
The behemoths.
Yeah.
I had one show up. I had the Mysterious Stranger show up my first shot at a behemoth, and he just came out and was just like 6 fucking magnum shots to the fucking face of this thing, downed it.
Right, so he's like a normal-looking NPC. He has a fedora and a trench coat and a 44 Magnum.
That's awesome.
It's really fucking cool. And it plays a little theme for him every time he shows up. It's like, yeah, and he just literally, it's really cool because he literally just kind of like slides into, like, it shows the creature, and then it looks like he just shows up behind them, like the way the camera pans over. He's just like shows up. It's really cool.
I don't think that one came out. I guess there's certain prerequisites to unlocking that perk.
Yeah.
And that, again, I think that was my big issue. Like, I feel kind of nerfed when it came to the shooting because of the way I built my character. I felt like I was always a couple tiers behind where I wanted to be at that point in the game because, like I said, I couldn't unlock some of the higher shooting perks until I upped the stat a couple. And it's like I'm already a couple levels in where I would have been X amount of distance ahead if I built my character.
You should probably replay it.
I would definitely, just sounding from it, sorry to cut you off, I saw you're ready to go, Kyle. I would definitely recommend replaying this game, and now knowing what you do know, I think you're going to get a lot more enjoyment. I don't know what it is until we actually get to the score, but just from the way it sounds, you're not getting the full experience out of it, and I really think, even though it's an open world, that you would really, really enjoy this game and everything it would have to offer.
I mean, if I was going to replay, I'd probably play a newer iteration.
PC. Play it on PC.
Well, I don't mean even Fallout 3. Like, I'd probably play, like, Fallout 4.
No.
4...
It's a completely different
4 is
game.
a lot more, I want to say, complicated when it comes to items.
Incredibly complicated.
So you need a good baseline in the Fallout universe before you go to 4. That's our professional opinion.
Okay. Well, then maybe I'll wait for Fallout 5 or something. I just don't. I don't foresee myself playing Fallout 3 again.
About 9 years from now.
New Vegas. Play New Vegas on a PC.
I don't really play PC.
He's not playing on PC.
I don't suggest Fallout New Vegas to anybody.
What?
I don't suggest Fallout New Vegas to anybody. That game's shit.
What? Are you kidding
Anyway,
right now?
No.
we're on 3.
Oh, we have got to review that game. Sign me up.
We've already had it on a poll.
This
Well, let's get it on the table. I don't want it on a poll. I want to play it.
I will say I was a very big fan of VATS. I do say where it does make it a lot more strategic, especially when you find yourself in the Deathclaw Sanctuary and you
Harry didn't go there.
No, which for good reason. Like as soon as like the first couple sounds, whenever you walk up and you just see like the area location pop up and it just says Deathclaw Sanctuary, you're like,
Nope.
oh fuck. Unless you have the dart gun and then you're pretty much good to go.
Bottle cap mines.
And all it is like pretty much you hit them in both legs, you slow them down, throw down a trail of bottle cap mines, and you don't really have to worry about it that much, except if one starts charging you from behind.
Did you fight many Deathclaws, Harry?
Remind me what a Deathclaw is.
Oh, you
Well,
would
that's a
know.
No.
You would know.
You would remember.
Oh my
it's
God.
basically a giant tan death machine that just charges at you and kills you in about 3 to 4 hits, maybe.
His claws are the size of my arms.
So no, maybe no.
Yeah,
and
maybe
they're like quick. They're quicker than you are.
Yeah. Oh, you
I don't
can't. You cannot run away from them.
Yeah, they catch you, and they're devastatingly tough.
The one thing, if we're talking about enemies, that I really did enjoy was the fact that you could find mutant
I
behemoths
don't know, maybe.
out in the wild.
There's one mandatory behemoth, and then there's the
That's the when it comes into the city when
yeah.
GNR.
Oh, but you
radio.
didn't go to the
First aid
GNR
GNR.
building, did you? Because you said you skipped that.
No, I still
he-
went there. No, I fought him with the what was that Legion? Oh fuck, what were they called?
Oh, the Brothers.
Or the
With the
Brotherhood
Brothers-
of Steel.
yeah.
Yeah. No, because you're right. Like you're leading up and you tag along with their little troop.
Exactly.
And then you fight that. I
But
did
the-
find another one though. In
You did?
in a cage. There's like an electrified fence down in this valley, or like a canyon. There was this little city that was down there, and I saw one. I killed him while he was inside the cage, and then
Isn't he
Yeah.
surrounded by boxcars or something?
yeah.
Yeah, there's
That was a shootout. Jesus Christ.
I think there's 3 or 4 ones basically like in the wild, quote unquote.
Are there that many behemoths?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a few of them. There's some that you have to kind of like do a trigger to lure them out. I remember starting to seek them out, and I remember there was one where you went down this hill, and at the very bottom there was an overturned shopping cart with a teddy bear inside of it, and you just had to go up and click on the teddy bear, and then all of a sudden you turn around and this behemoth is charging down the hill at you, just like full speed. It's like all you hear is just a noise.
Not my teddy.
Basically, and then, oh, fuck, it's Mutant Behemoth. Let's do it?
Time to kill the behemoth. Banana.
But I do like the diversity of the enemies that they had in this game, too. You had a little bit of everything between humans, you had the raiders.
Mole
you had
rats.
the mole rats, you had the bloat flies, anything from insects to crustaceans to humans to, like, the
Rad scorpions.
to the vampires. Oh, and then giant rad scorpions.
Fucking
They can go
Mirelurks.
fuck King Mirelurk.
Robots.
Fuck that bitch. Yeah,
Having
the
said
robots.
that,
Robots.
Having said that, though, the raiders to me they get old.
Yeah, a little bit.
You
They're
get
easy to
tired
kill.
of raiders.
Like,
they are.
oh, another one. And it's like, oh, you're running up. Here's a shotgun to your head. And then I always took the one perk where on like a critical hit, their body would explode. And
Oh, bloody mess.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's it. And then that always made me have a good feeling inside.
I liked how it changed based on the weapons you had. Like, if you had a laser, they turned to ash. If you had plasma, they turned to goo.
Yeah.
If you did a physical weapon, you just smashed their heads off, and then the heads exploded sometimes.
Yep.
You could rip off their arms. Like, pretty funny.
That's why I loved a baseball bat.
I wanted to say, before we get too far away from it, that I did do a melee build as well, and it was one of the things I've always wanted to do in this game is make a pure melee build, and I made a couple missteps with my character, but, sorry, not melee, unarmed, an unarmed character. So I got the Deathclaw Gauntlet, where
Nice.
I just, I knew that it was expensive to get or do this or do that, and I didn't realize that there's actually one just out in the wilderness, and I looked it up, found it, made one. I mean, before I was using spiked knuckles, which was a lot of fun because even at a low level, like a super mutant with a hunting rifle coming at me because I had an endurance of 9, like I had like 350 like hit points. Like I could take care of those guys without an issue. But just just like getting close to a super mutant and going bop, 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 bop right on their head and just like waiting for the critical because I upped my luck as well, waiting for the critical and just like that last one, like boom, and their head just like explodes. It was so satisfying. It was so much fun to play. It was play that way because I've done the small guns route where I've got a Chinese assault rifle and a million rounds, and that's just the same thing over and over and over again. And this to me was really refreshing. And then when I got the Deathclaw Gauntlet, it was like I'm just cutting through Enclave guys and everybody in armor like nothing, like butter. Like it was fun. And then if they were too far away or if it was a Deathclaw, I would just, because I put points into explosives, I would just lob a grenade at them. And do that a couple times. And if I saw grenades, I would pick them up. If they were there to buy, I'd buy them. You'd be amazed at how much ammo you can stack up when you're not using any at all. And then you can just turn that into profit.
What kind of build did you make for this one, Clark?
For this one, I did just like a standard like small guns. It's the easiest way to get through the game because they're so abundant everywhere. I mean, the first like I'd say the first like 15 hours of the game you can do almost with just the 10mm pistol that you get off of the Overseer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, like there's enough ammo that you can just like get through all of it. Also for this run, I decided to mod the shit out of it because I've played it on PC.
Oh, okay.
I played it on PC this time, and man, you can really do some crazy shit with mods in this game. It's fucking ridiculous.
I've played around with the mods for Skyrim, like changing the weight values on things so you can just like hoard a whole bunch of stuff, but I've never modded this one.
I did very, very simple mods. Like I changed like certain stats and things like that. Like there's a codex where you can actually just go into a terminal and like, I want this weapon, just drop it in front of you.
Gotcha.
I want this weapon, drop it in front of you.
What do they call that?
Anyway.
Did you do anything with the graphics? Did you like change like graphic mods?
No. Okay. Although I was looking into possibly spawning the Doctor Who telephone box in the game, but that's about it.
What weapons did you find yourself really using, Harry?
I had almost one of everything. I felt like I kept running out of ammo on certain guns. I feel like it was the same kind of thing I did in BioShock, where it's like, boom, I'm out of ammo on this gun, shift to another one. And then I just keep rotating through this roster of weapons. So I think I had one of everything, and then I would replace it with the better one that I had. Or you use the crappy ones to, what do they call it? When you're fixing it up. Repairing it.
Yeah.
So to help out with weight, I was constantly repairing the weapons as well.
That's a good way to go.
And that was one of the stats I think I maxed out, or I may have gotten it to like 95 or something. Just because it upgraded the damage as you were repairing it better and better.
Yeah.
But it's surprising for you to say that, at least for me to hear that, because if your repair was that high, you should have been picking up weapons, repairing them, and selling them. And you sell them for a hefty profit when they're almost completely maxed out because you're getting the best price possible. That's one thing about this game that I always enjoyed from day one, was that if you had two of something, you could put them together to make something better, to either do more damage or to sell it. Now, depending on where they're at, sometimes it's better just to sell two weapons because you get more money for it. Like it doesn't double the price, double the value is what I'm saying when you repair them like that. But the fact that, okay, there's a million items out in the world, they all have weight, and weight has consequence because you only carry so much. The fact that they had that repair system in there is one of the things I always enjoyed about this game. And that repair system is not present in Fallout 4. Just letting you know.
I was actually, I never came across something like this, but like, I thought I was going to get to some like high tier damage weapons, and I never came across anything like that.
Like a Chinese assault rifle?
Yeah, like I think all of like the guns I had like incrementally got better based on its value of repair, but nothing like shot up in value.
Now see, in Fallout New Vegas, you can have different ammo types which you can change based on what you need.
You could, or in Fallout 3, you can just pull out a mini nuke and then you can just like blow everything to oblivion.
If you have a high explosive skill. Or a big gun skill.
But you know what I mean when it comes to weapons? Like usually in a lot of games, it's like, cool, you got your tier 1, and then like when you get to a certain point in the game, it starts to like a tier 2. And I never saw the damage values increase more than like a couple points.
Yeah.
So for that, realistically, there is like the god tier weapons, but they're all kind of really hard to get. So the alien blaster,
They're the unique weapons.
yeah, the uniques.
So is that one I got at Paradise a unique weapon?
Did it have a
The Mesmetron?
altered name?
The Mesmetron?
Yeah, the
No.
Mesmetron was a unique weapon.
Well, it is, but
yeah, but that's kind of like a given.
what we mean is
Yeah.
like there's like the Chinese officer like sword is a generic melee weapon, but then there's like a Chinese officer sword that has a name.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
figured that's what you're getting at.
Like the
Yeah.
one you can get off of the vampire in the subway.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's what I was thinking.
There's also the terrible shotgun, which is the one that we were
terrible
talking about.
shotgun,
Oh,
right.
that's
which is a combat shotgun, but it's like amazing.
It's
But
terrible.
It also does. You have to repair it a lot more often before it breaks.
Yep. But you can put combat shotguns into it.
yeah.
But like the alien blaster is probably in the base game the highest damage thing that you can get, and I think it's like 32 when you pick it up. Does like 32 damage a shot.
So if you
if
have
I'm
a
not
high.
mistaken, it's unlimited ammo, right? Like it should,
No, you have to
The
find
opposite.
you do
the,
have to find the
yeah.
stuff. Okay,
but it's only at the crashed UFO.
But there are
until you go to Mothership Zeta.
But there are the higher tier weapons, but like they're saying, it's not like they're prevalent throughout the entire game. There's usually like one or two of each category that are spread through the entire map. So it's a matter of finding the specialty assault rifle, the specialty shotgun, the specialty melee.
The Lincoln repeater comes to mind. The
Yeah,
Lincoln,
yes.
the Lincoln rifle is something that you would have wanted to use with your small guns skill. And I think does that use 44s or does that use a different type of ammo? It's a unique rifle that has a higher damage value.
While we're talking guns, I did have a question that never really got explained to me. I have an inkling what it might be, but I was doing kills with the laser weapons from the Enclave.
Yep.
Every kill I did,
Plasma?
negative on the karma. Negative on the karma. Why was that?
because of who you were killing.
Weren't you pro Enclave in your playthrough?
No.
Yeah,
not-
did you join the Enclave?
No, I accidentally. It's funny because you know when you have to go talk to the robot guy, I accidentally went up to the wrong floor, set off the alarms or whatnot because I was just supposed to go talk to him because I think you're naked or something like that. But anyway, I set off a trigger. I had to wipe the whole base. Like I had to kill everybody. Why? What's?
Oh no, just laughing just because we've all done that. It's like you do the one wrong thing like in somewhere. It's like, well, everybody has to die now, or I'm
Reload.
trying to get out.
Should have
So
reloaded.
did they start coming after you?
Yeah, all of them.
No. I mean, when you went back out, did the Enclave start coming after you? Because that's always a cool thing when they land the helicopters near you.
That is
Oh,
a
yeah.
cool event.
So you're like just wandering in the wasteland, minding your own fucking business, and all of a sudden you hear like a helicopter, like one of their helicopters, and you're like, what the fuck? And they just literally just drop out of it and they just start fucking blasting you. You're like, oh, fuck.
No, this was like towards the end of the game. I think I just hit mission, and I was pretty much done at that point.
Right. Well, that's why I was saying, like, when we talked about, like, when you got done, I was like, dude, you should just go play another, like, 3 or 4 hours and just wander around. Because, like, there's some stuff there that, like, you just get to experience after you do some of the... There's a lot of payoffs in this game. Like, when you...
Oh, yeah.
You pay for your decisions. Like the regulator's always coming after Steve and I for...
The Talon
for-
mercs always come after me.
Yeah, like it's always also the if you kill enough of the Talon members, you get approached by the Rangers to join them and like do their whole fight
fingers.
between there's a lot of just random side stuff in here that really pays into the gameplay of like, you know, you get rewarded and you get, you know, negatives based on how you're actually just playing the game. I always thought that was like a really cool thing.
I did want to say that the actual combat, and again, I didn't play Oblivion, but the combat itself in this is kind of clunky, and that VATS kind of evens the odds, I want to say, because it's not that good of a shooter. It really is more designed to use VATS and use it tactically. They tried to change that in the later games. They tried to make it more shooter friendly and less RPG like. But I mean, even when the game first came out, like not just now, but when it first came out, it was clunky then. So it's really interesting to me that you played it as long as you did without using
And
VATS.
I was actually feeling that same sentiment like the whole time I was playing. I was like, this is clunky. It doesn't feel right playing it this way.
Because it's an RPG. It's not a shooter.
No,
first.
I
It's an
get
RPG
that,
first,
and
yeah.
it feels like one of those like adventure, like it feels like there's a billion games like it where you're just exploring, and it's not so much that shooter like you're getting at. It's more of just an exploring type of game.
Well, like
Yeah.
once you get your
Man's
like
Sky.
small gun or small arms skill up, it becomes a fucking shooter.
He was comparing it to No Man's Sky.
just said,
He's
like,
like, it's
No
an
Man's
adventure
Sky.
game like No Man's Sky.
Oh my god.
No.
No,
Nothing is like No
No.
Man's Sky.
Apparently, Sea of Thieves is like No Man's Sky. So I've heard.
I actually have to agree. I was actually very disappointed in the VAT system with Melee. Like, with the guns, you get to choose where you want to shoot them. Head, arm, torso, leg, whatever. With the Melee, you're just like, oh, hit
Full
him.
body.
Okay. Like, I feel like I should still have the option. Do I want to hit him in the leg so he can't run away from me? Do I want to hit him in the arm so he can't shoot his gun?
Yeah.
Or even targeting the gun to knock it out of his hand or something.
Exactly, yeah. But you don't get that option.
There's a lot of features they could have missed opportunity. I think it's the best way to summarize it up.
and it's so weird because the melee combat in Oblivion is so oddly rich, and like you can cripple somebody and knock their sword out of their hand, and you can do that. But they didn't take any of that like code for the melee and throw it into this. I mean, you can cripple somebody, you can beat them senseless, but they don't like. It's not in the same sense like where you can like out fatigue somebody, and like there's a richness to that melee combat in Oblivion that I think they just didn't pull over into this, and I thought it was a weird thing. Having done the unarmed, I actually like it's one of my favorite ways to play the game because I like hitting something and it just explodes in a
Yes.
Right.
gooey puddle. But yeah, I agree. I thought that was just a weird little tidbit to the melee and shooting differences.
All right. Well, I think we covered a very good chunk of gameplay. So let's vat our way into some graphics.
Man.
We're going to vat our way in. So we only have a 90% chance we're about to do graphics, guys.
Graphics.
I can only say two things about graphics because my AP is very low.
I'll say it looks okay. It's not like the graphics are way overdone. It's not like there's any super incredible cutscenes that completely wow me. I think it's fine for what it is, but I wasn't overly impressed. I'll say that. I think some of the landscape looked great. The environment was really cool. It was vast. They had a lot of different areas other than, just the general wasteland, but with the different towns and with the oasis throwing some things in like that. But overall, it's okay.
When I first played the game and you just step out of that vault, I was like taken aback by how beautiful the game was. Like I actually like really thought it was impressive. Like when it first came out. Now,
It's been 10 years.
It's been 10 years. Yeah, it doesn't hold up to games now, but that first, initial like, holy shit, this is like a giant sandbox. Like I can really like point that spot out on my screen and like walk to it. Like
Yeah, it's true.
that was incredible and impressive to me, and I really thought that just like the design of everything was really intelligent, and everything like nothing in the game is clean. Like it is very truly aesthetically a waste. And I think that it applies to every single piece of every surface in the game, every item in the game, every model in the game is very too aesthetic. And I was blown away by it. I love the character models. I love the enemy models. I think they're really like, they look like mutants, and they look like, they could be adapted from things in the area. Like, because it is Maryland and because it is DC and stuff, all of the crabs, because Maryland,
Yeah, exactly.
Like, so like a lot of the creatures have like these crab-like shells, and like like the Mirelurks are like these weird things. Like it's well done. I think like the graphics are incredible.
I think I'm somewhere in between you two, honestly. I think that when the game first came out, I was impressed. As time has gone on, you know, it can't hold up. I've played this game on the PS3. I've played it on a computer in like 2012, 2013, and I've played it now. And having said that, it really feels like 3 different phases, because I played it on PC the second time, and I played it on PC this time, and I was actually able to move everything up to Ultra for the graphics and have a steady frame rate and practically no load times. I mean, it was crazy to play this time. It was so enjoyable. It's like, I've been waiting so long to turn this thing all the way up to Ultra and play it and see what it looks like. And it didn't completely wow me. I want to say that I do really love the geography. I love the way they use the mall in D.C. The scale is completely off because the mall is huge. If you're actually there in D.C., everything is huge. The way things are spaced out.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can sort of, if you go to the mall, you can see the Washington Monument, you can see the Capitol building, you can see the Lincoln Memorial in the game. In real life, it's so much further apart. But I appreciate what they tried to do. And the only thing graphically I really want to say that stood out to me this time playing is with things on Ultra. When I went to the, is it Springdale or Springfield, the school that's right outside the vault?
Yeah.
I went on the 3rd floor, or not on the 3rd floor. I went on the top floor, and the ceiling was like weak, and you could see light coming out from outside and beams of light pouring into the room. And I don't remember that before at all in my previous playthroughs. I don't remember being like, oh wow, that actually kind of like looks semi-realistic. Like, that's kind of impressive. That's the only thing that stood out to me playing it this time. Clark pretty much said, like, you know, the character models are interesting. Everything's dirty, like you said, except for like some like pristine vault interior maybe, or Mothership Zeta, you know, like there's no dirt or anything there, and it's really jarring. I do want to say that the color of the game to me has become very grating. Like, all I really wanted to do was like, can I adjust like the colors on this and make it look a little different, because it's so
Brown,
green, like beige, like it all kind of like blends in the whole, it's all one big like mess. I mean, I guess it's probably what they were going for. And around that time, a lot of games were that color, or sort of had that color like theme, but that's like what makes the Oasis stand out so well. You go there and like everything is like a rich brown and a rich green. Like it's intentionally sort of lush by design to stand out like that. But yeah, this playthrough, having everything on Ultra and having it was a joy to play, and I have no complaints from the way things actually look. So I'm somewhere between the two of you guys. Like, full praise, it was okay. I'm right in the middle.
Middle ground, Ralph.
I'm actually going to agree with both of you. I think the graphics were fantastic. I remember stepping out of the vault just like you and just being blown away by everything in front of me. And the fact, like you said, you could easily look off in the distance and you could run there. And the environment just got closer to you, and as if I were to actually go running around in the wilderness. And then to what Ralph said, it did feel very dull. Everything was gray, everything was dark, everything was brown. You couldn't really distinguish a lot of stuff from each other. I actually, to see if things were real, did the VATS test. I would run around hitting R1 to see if there was a bear near me or if there was a deathclaw coming near me, because I couldn't tell the difference of anything. Some of the things I thought were really cool was when you actually went to some of the vaults, they were different. The one thing we didn't actually talk about was some of the vaults were tests and some were just like actual habitable environments. So like the one you go to is completely filled with irradiation. So when you get to that part of the vault, everything's greenish, like as we imagine it would be. There was another one where there was like death everywhere, so like there was blood smeared everywhere. It was very red and very dark, and I think they just did a great job of incorporating everything.
I'm probably just going to rehash some of the same things you guys just said. If there was anything holding me back from like me praising the game, it's just how brown the game was, and it's not very appealing to the eye, but again, it just kind of wears on your eyes after staring at it for 15, 20 some hours. So I think it has an initial impact, but it doesn't hold up throughout the whole entirety of the game. I know there's kind of a mix of some of your other points, but that's kind of where I stand on it.
Yeah, and some of the DLC, they really changed the color palettes a lot. Like Anchorage is all white because it's set in Alaska, and Mothership Zeta is all on the spaceship. I guess the pit and
is very like red and very
rusty.
like rusty.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say that after 10 years, you can still play it. It still looks pretty good, if you have it on a modern machine.
I think so. Sorry to cut in real quick.
Yeah.
I know I'm like kind of complaining about the brown scale of the game. I don't know to do that setting. I don't think you can get around doing it any other way. I think it's just a default thing that you have to do when making a game like this.
I mean, it is a wasteland because of a nuclear apocalypse.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
The Pip-Boy, as a in-game device and as a map and your navigation and everything, the way that works, I've always enjoyed the Pip-Boy for what it is.
Pip-Boy's awesome. You see everything on it. It's green.
Green wrist-mounted Virtual Boy.
I changed the coloring to orange.
Oh, did you?
I did. I got sick of the green.
It's basically your in-game inventory systems, status checks, how's your body, how's the environment, world, quest, there's a map, you can throw stuff on it, you can fast travel. By the way, fast travel's amazing.
Fast travel.
I love it.
That comes in handy so
really
much.
Does.
No, just quick side question. Once you kill all the enemies in an area, do they ever respawn, or is it just desolate from that point?
Depends on the area.
Yeah, it depends. Are they raiders? Are you talking about?
Talking
Or-
raiders, the general animals that are
Yes.
floating around.
Yes,
They
they
will
they
respawn?
eventually do respawn.
Okay.
Named characters
Do not.
You can lose quests for killing named characters.
Oh no, I figured that was a thing.
Like
and
the guy-
it'll warn you too. It'll be like, oh, you have altered this, this, and this.
Yeah, like when you were in Paradise Falls and you're just like, I'm not paying $300. He gives out a quest where you can bring him slavers. He's going to pay you money.
Say quest failed.
Yeah, it'll tell you quest failed. You can no longer complete this.
Yep.
Even if I never picked up the quest to begin with.
That I don't know. I already had the quest when I did it.
It'll just say
think so.
your actions have closed off something. It'll be like you can't ever do this quest. You might not have killed the person. It might have been somebody that.
Well, I killed everybody in that town.
Well, there's only one person I think that did that, and that was the front guy. I did actually have a question for you guys. Did anybody else find it irritating you couldn't run because you were already running? I found myself smashing a button every time to try and start sprinting, and I'm like,
sprint.
"Fuck,
Hold
I'm not doing
shift
it."
to sprint.
Yeah,
I would do
and
it a couple times.
You are
yeah.
already maxed out based upon
Yeah.
your weight capacity, your strength, and all that fun
Agility.
stuff. Did
'Cause they
anybody else
added
find that
that.
irritating?
Yes.
Little bit.
Yeah. I always wish there was a car or something. I'm serious. I always was just there's all these busted down cars. You have 100 repair skill. You can't that or a motorcycle or something. You just get on and zip around.
They could totally go the route of Mad Max with something like this.
The
Mad
roads
Max
are,
was
the
a
roads
really
are so
big-
fucked though.
That's true.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they designed it slightly differently or had some dirt, maybe there's some kind of
Big
packed-
tires.
yeah.
I don't remember there being roads in Mad Max. Wasn't a whole lot of desert shit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you notice that the leather armor and the sawed-off shotgun is straight Mad Max? Mad Max was actually a really big influencer, I think, on the look of this game. Did
Yeah.
anybody else pick up on that?
It's good that you tied it into graphics.
I'm serious.
No, but we were starting to get off. But
Yeah,
you were
Clark,
like,
do
oh
you-
yeah,
Do
look.
you have Mad Max here anywhere?
So, I mean,
Either of them? A
somewhere,
Road Warrior? I mean, it's not even subtle because the Road Warrior, he has a dog or a dingo or whatever.
Well, I think some of the way the Raiders are dressed up, I mean, definitely inspiration from those films as well. I mean, some of their outfits are crazy. They got the mohawks, all the face paint. They don't look like just some dirty person trying to survive. They're a little flared up with a distinct look.
Should we bop
All
on
right.
into music?
We're gonna bring the wall down and sledge our way into music.
Are we talking about Siege now?
Super Sledge.
I love the Super Sledge.
Yeah.
So great.
Super Sledge.
So much damage and death.
Music.
So I will say there's a lot of sound effects. The music, you have some around the radio where you hear some the old timey. The voice acting, I think, is one thing. I mean, Liam Neeson is your dad.
I don't think he gives that good a performance, though.
It's not that great.
Okay, I'm just saying.
It is Liam Neeson, and
He's
Liam
your
Neeson's
dad.
great, but I felt like there was a disconnect. This is the first time they'd rolled him into a booth and said, emote, and he was
Yeah.
I'm
You had
Liam Neeson.
Ron Perlman as your narrator, and that's pretty much about it.
Right. I just don't think
It's-
that of the performances, I don't think his was the strongest. I think a lot of unknown voice talent as the other NPCs give much stronger performances.
You know,
than they do.
Ashley Birch was in this one.
No, she's not.
He does know. But no, I mean, I really personally don't find there's a whole lot to really dive into when it comes to the music. The sound effects, guns sound like guns. The mutants sound upset, which is understandable. Dog meat sounds like a dog.
Okay, we get the point.
I do have one criticism when it comes to sound. Okay, first of all, I don't really care for 1940s music, like that old. Fuck that.
You only listened to so much of it in your younger days.
I think that
Pre-war.
I think the dynamics are off in this game. Because there's been a lot of times where I'm having a conversation facing, I look maybe like an inch or two to the right, and it automatically sounds like they're behind me.
Okay.
Yeah, I did notice that as well.
And it was just like a slight turn. It's like, I don't think they nailed that aspect of the game. It was very, very odd. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can give sound a pass on this game overall thinking about it. Like, the sound effects were okay, but like... And the voice acting actually wasn't bad, but the music could not get into. The dynamics, I think, was a little off. So, I think it's a sloppy point on this game.
I will say I couldn't get enough of the bodies exploding or melting or heads. I loved all those sound effects of just the gore. They did a good job on that. But I agree. Overall, not a very good job on the sound and the music.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything really stand out about the sound in the game. I mean, some of the explosives sounded pretty good, and I thought it was a interesting just effect in general when you fired off the mini nuke, where it was like ear ringing and like, you know, like
deep rumble.
Yeah, like the deep rumble behind the like. I thought that was executed well, but like that's like you fire maybe 8 of those a game, like a run through.
I didn't fire a single one.
Really, not even test it out against the first behemoth.
No.
Anyway, yeah. Other than that, I think some of the little sound effects are okay, but nothing remarkable.
No, they did all right.
I'm going to have to say, guys, I'm going completely in the opposite direction for this one. I think that the sound design and the music for this game are very distinct, because there are not a lot of modern video games where you're going to get a score composed primarily of songs from the 50s at the latest and earlier. There aren't that many games where there's a radio personality bringing you like probably not even 10 tracks, and you listen to them over and over again. And I've become nostalgic for some of those songs. Now, at the same time, there have been times where I've heard them so much that I'll turn the music off and provide my own. But I want to say that in terms of the voice acting, you know, it's okay. I never thought the sound design for the weapons or the guns or the enemy grunts or sounds or noises or anything like that was subpar. I always thought it was completely serviceable and fit with the rest of the game and did it well. And I like the fact that you can find more radio stations within the game. Like there's even a little old lady in a shack somewhere that you have to fetch her violin for her, and then her station becomes open to listen to her playing. Which
Agatha?
Agatha sounds right. I mean, it makes sense within the world to me that the world's gone to shit. We only have so much music that we had on like backup tapes or hard copy, and therefore we're just going to play the shit out of it. That, like, it just works for my mind. And to sort of go into Fallout 4 as well, they use even some songs from Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, which at first I was like, I can't believe they do that. That's annoying. But then it's like, it sort of makes sense because in theory, music has been lost. I mean, I don't know what the future holds. In 200 years, maybe all we'll have to listen to is Nickelback. And the world will be worse for it. I really don't know.
The music will be great.
You hold your tongue. I love Nickelback.
Now, having said that, I'm not saying I know the owners. I don't know the composers. I don't own any of this music, and I don't listen to it in my spare time with my headphones, laying on my bed, staring up at the ceiling because it's so amazing. That's not the case. But I think the music and sound design for this game works, and I'm more than pleased with it.
He lays in his...
Oh, he totally does.
No, I don't.
Okay, so
No,
I have
don't.
one small rebuttal to that.
Give me your small rebuttal.
So you were touching on like the madness of only being able to hear X amount of songs in this post-apocalyptic planet because music is essentially lost. I am only a visitor to this place, and my immersion only needs to go so far. I cannot deal with that madness outside of this world.
Okay.
It's just
I don't have Three Dogs' greatest hits in my car, okay, man?
Oh,
I don't. Oh.
Three Dog coming at ya.
Hey there, America. It's me, John Hen. Gotcha. You know, you guys have heard that shit over and over again.
Yeah.
A little bit, a couple times. And you know what? Yeah, we're going to go ahead and we're going to claw our way over to final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
Ralph, what's your final thought?
Personally, I think that this is one of the best games of that generation. That this introduced me to the franchise. This sucked me in. It really, I want to say it opened up other genres that I hadn't really played that much for me. And it's the kind of game that I've bought it again and again. Like I bought it for a console. I bought it for PC when it came out, and then I bought the Game of the Year edition for PC when it came out. Like, I'm just going to continue to have it in my library and play it. It now sort of seems limited, but I think it really is a classic.
I can see that. Kyle, talk at me.
There aren't many games that I actually keep to replay over and over. Like, I can list maybe 3. Mass Effect, Skies of Arcadia, and this. I've come back to this game several times. I've dumped, like I said earlier, 300 hours. You don't do that to games you don't like. It's definitely something, if you've never picked up, it's something you have to play at least once. And I'm not saying you got to dump 300 hours into it, but at least give it a good 25, maybe 40. You will not be disappointed.
Well said, sir. Clark, final thought.
All right, so I think it's can't miss for the series. I think it's one of the most important of the series in general. I really think that if you like the genre of the open world RPG type of game in a first person or third person, because we didn't touch on that either. You can switch the whole game to third person.
You can go both ways.
Yes. I think it's one of the best games out there, period, that is just an open sandbox. You know, I own this on everything except for PS3. I have bought it twice for PC, once digitally, once I had it on a disc. I've bought it for 360 once as a disc and once digitally. Like I own the shit out of this game.
Yes, I would say so.
I've dumped numerous amounts of hours. Actually, when I originally quoted that 300 hours, that was all on my 360. That doesn't include the files that I've loaded up on my Xbox One to play it because I had it digitally and it just transferred over. Does not include all of the fucking hours that I have on that PC or the ones that I have on that fucking PC. Like, I love this game.
I have to say that this is something that should be in everyone's collection. Whether you have the physical copy, digital download, in one way or another, this should be around. I know I may be a little biased with that, and I know this isn't really for everybody, but I think I'm talking about a very small percentage. But I mean, to each their own, perfectly fine. But in my own opinion, this is something that I have always owned a copy of one way or another. When my Xbox took a shit and I went and had to get a PS3, one of the first games I got was this game, because at least I knew that I would always have something to play and I would not be bored with it because there was so much shit to do. And for that, this will still be one of my top games, period. End of story. So now, being the most newest to it, Harry, give me your final thought.
So I think the Fallout series is something that is actively discussed from time to time in at least our friend group, but probably a lot of other groups out there. It's almost like a staple game that people should play. So having said that, like this was a game that this is the first time I played it, and I feel like I've missed out on it for quite so many years. Like, it was always like that one game, like, wow, how did I miss that? Or maybe I should play it, or like I feel like I'm missing something by not having visited yet. So I am glad I did experience this game. And I gotta say, there was a lot of things I liked about it. I don't think I would qualify it as like one of my favorite games, but I did appreciate the time that I did put into it. And I can see why people go really nuts on a game like this. But again, I'm a little biased in my opinion. I'm not 100% sold on the open sandbox type of game. So I do have that little bit of leverage coming, I guess, held against my score. But I can't knock it for too many things.
All right, boys. Now it's time for the Omega, the score.
The score.
I'll start off with my score. I think with everything said, I'm going to have to give this a solid A. Almost A+, but there's still a couple, I think, that edge it out just a little bit more. So it's an A for me. Ralph?
I'm going 93. I know I said I like New Vegas better, but
fair.
That does not diminish this game at all.
No, that's fair. Harry?
I think I'm going to go with a 7.5, which ties with XCOM
7.5. 7.5.
Sorry, I ate a
Try again,
snake
smooth
earlier.
skin.
But yeah, 7.5, which ties with Parasite Eve 2. Wow.
Wow.
7.5, which ties with Parasite Eve and Silent Hill 2.
Silent Parasite, too.
Eve of the two parasites.
Eve Hill 2.
Ooh.
Evil.
2 Eve Hills.
Evelyn 2?
Actually, and XCOM 2 as well.
A lot of twos.
A lot of twos.
Just a couple.
222.
Clark?
I'm going to give this game one exploding, gory, power-fisted punch from a fully repaired Brotherhood of Steel power armor set.
Jesus Christ. They get long. I think you add one more word on
Maybe.
to the size
We'll
of it.
start counting.
I'm trying to make our chart on our Facebook page be this long for like my
Nice.
stuff.
I'm just going to convert it.
You're doing
he
a
gave
great
it a 4.
job.
No, fuck you. Don't you dare do that. How dare you interpret it for everyone else?
Yeah, no, I'm going to put a numeric value on all of your.
All right, BPK, what you got?
So this is going to still remain to be one of my top games, but I'm going to give it a 90 solely because after going through Melee and realizing VATS is practically useless, and I found the music repetitive enough that I would play.
Real quick.
Yep.
Sorry. You have to do everyone's, remember. That's the guest rule policy.
So you gave it a 90. That's mine.
Yep, you gave it a 90.
Yeah.
Steve's is a letter
Should have
grade.
let him finish his thought, though.
Because the Melee was so disappointing because I couldn't do anything with it. It was useless as a Melee build. And the music I found repetitive enough that I was listening to my own music on Pandora. So that's why I'm going to give it a 90. And then based off of Harry, I'm going to give it a 9.0, tied with whatever other
Figured that
games
was
are
coming.
tied with that. Steve, we're going to go ahead and give it an A+. No, we're going to go A. We're going to stay with straight A. And for Clark's, I'm just going to give it one gigantic hole through a Deathclaw's body.
That's
So that's a positive?
yeah.
That's
If you
positive.
can take down a Deathclaw,
Okay.
that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Especially
Especially
if it's
with-
a giant hole.
Yeah, and put more holes in the...
You know what, Ralph?
Just stop with the
Interpret
holes.
however you like.
Okay.
Oh. It's all right, Kyle. Don't
I mean,
fist
that's all its
Ralph.
grading system is. Interpret however the fuck you like.
Damn right.
Who gives a
Exactly.
Damn right. You do you, boo-boo.
Can I mention just 2 more things real quick?
shit? No.
No, we're done.
Go ahead. They might get cut.
Go
but
real
go ahead.
quick.
Number 1, I only found one bobblehead my entire playthrough.
What?
That's because you're not good at searching them out, apparently.
You
I
did-
fucking searched
no,
like
you
through
didn't search
everything.
shit.
You should
No,
just
you
look
didn't.
them up.
Yeah,
Harry.
you
should
just
really
looked
did.
them up.
I refused to look up a guide. I played strictly without a guide.
Dude,
By
That's
the way,
good.
for
the
this
bobblehead-
game, though,
Yeah, you kind of need a guide. The bobblehead in the base that you get, whether it's in Megaton or whether it's in Tenpenny Tower, you have a little stage where all your bobbleheads go.
Yeah. So you would only have one.
And when you collect all of them, guess what you get, Harry? You get an achievement. And I know how much you love them.
Oh.
you need to
Did.
platinum this game. You need to
Did.
platinum.
Nah.
Did you get the bobblehead right at the beginning of the game?
Oh, yeah. Your
Is that the
father's,
bobblehead?
Father's medicine.
No.
Yeah, it's like on his desk.
Yeah,
It's just
No,
sitting
I
right
got
there.
the one. There was like this pimp.
So wait, hold real quick. Hold on, just real quick. Then,
remember the pin
Then
bobblehead.
then
Oh, no.
then
I
did
know.
you look? Like, did you do any searching?
He beat the
Honestly,
game in 8 hours flat. He did a
Say the-
straight run.
Yeah,
the
true.
first one
Yeah.
was the
No, I-
easiest to find.
I think I was like,
He's like, this game needs to be more linear.
Why aren't the bobbleheads in front of me as I walk?
No,
So
the one I got was at Paradise.
You're making this longer, so I'm literally just going to roast anything that you say. So, go
So
ahead.
no, there's
What's your-
one. What's number
What's,
2?
What's your next one? Haley?
What was the other thing? Shut up, fuck up. Just give me a second.
You're just making it worse.
1.
I don't. Well,
I meant to mention this in, I guess, gameplay. When Fox was following me, it kept, because I was doing it in third person. It forced me to do it in first person, because every time he would get right up on me, the whole screen would shake. Repeat, like it's everywhere.
He's
you
massive.
had a bad experience, didn't you? You did not have a good experience with this game.
Yeah,
So Fox would get on you, and then it would just start going in and out and in and out.
That's what I heard. There you go.
9.0.
Well, on that note, thank you, everybody. It's been an interesting ride. It's been a long ride.
Thanks for sticking around, Smooth Skin.
It's been pretty foxed up. But...
Foxed up.
Real quick, we have a iTunes review.
Oh, hey!
We do?
Do you want to read it?
I do. I'm bringing it
Okay.
up right now.
You gotta read it right now.
We've
your
been
phone gonna
meaning
die
to do
at
this for
85%?
like 4 episodes now.
Hey, while we're waiting for
Go
this,
for it.
we all started streaming on Twitch. I don't know if Kyle has.
No.
But yeah, you can check us out at twitch.com/superfunpodcast, or you can search Superfun Podcast Go on there, and you can find us. I don't think we've been streaming as much, but I'm gonna make it a priority to start streaming again a lot.
Cool.
Also, if you ever want to check out our Facebook page, it's facebook.com/superfunpodcast. We always host a poll up there. We should be putting up a new one soon.
Soon.
So we'll get back to you on that. If you ever want to donate to the show, patreon.com/superfunpodcast. $1 a month will get you all the bonus content since the beginning of the show. And let's read our iTunes review.
Hit it.
This is submitted by Bam623, titled The Best Show Ever, 5 stars.
Oh, it's Bam Margera. Thanks.
Yeah, right?
Thanks, Bam Margera.
Bam!
These guys are hilarious. Keep up the excellent work! ! ×3.
Nice.
Thanks, Bam.
Was it actually like an exclamation point?
No, there was 3 exclamation
Okay,
points.
Oh.
I put my own little unique twist on it.
Wow. Way to twist.
Thank
his
you,
words.
Bam.
Thanks, Bam.
Thanks, Bam.
Thanks, Bam.
Bam.
Appreciate it.
Bam.
Bam, bam.
Bam. Bam.
All right, so our next game on the docket,
Get on your knees and pray.
Pray.
It's just pray, not the
Yeah, we're
knees
just going to talk
part.
about...
Pray to the Almighty Jesus Christ
Or
as I walk on
You
water.
can just come say hi to Steve and just get on your knees.
I'm the
Just
savior
pray.
of the wasteland.
Just pray. We know, Ralph. You told us a couple times tonight.
3 Dog told me I was Jesus.
Oh! Please join us next time. And 3 Dog.
No.
Ow! Ow!
Game over. Game over. Game over. Game over. Game over.
Thanks for listening to Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go. Stay up to date on our Facebook at facebook.com/superfunpodcast.
on a long it looks really nice at first, and you're like, wow, this huge landscape.